It's so loud. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to the soothing sounds of the Rob Brown Show. Happy Monday, dudes and dudettes. Welcome in after a great football weekend, a great baseball weekend, a great basketball weekend, just a great sports weekend in general. It's time to have a little fun today on the radio broadcast. I am Rob Brown. I know I should have moved my camera around before I gave the entire viewing audience seasickness.
It's happening. The thing I was concerned about.
What's that?
You're starting to have the Bret Hart problem. You're wearing the glasses so much that there's that thing across your face.
Like a tan line?
No, you need to start looking in the mirror when you go home and see it. I mean, it's like you're wearing glasses when you're not wearing glasses.
Like you look at me and you're like, God, that guy looks so cool. I just see him in the glasses all the time now because of how cool and awesome they are.
If you continue to do the sunglasses thing, I wouldn't wear contacts anymore. I'm just saying, it's starting to be noticeable. I was wondering if it would happen, because I've seen it happen with other
I feel like you're trying to scare me out of looking too cool.
No, I'm serious. I am serious. Yeah, go ahead. Let's see you worm.
That's a too cool.
Let's see you worm.
I can't worm. I can do the hop thing though.
Yeah, started. You know how Bret Hart, where he wore those for so long, now it's just there's this thing across his face where, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's there.
And now I have that. Now later on, if Captain America Chris Evans down the hall scans my computer, he's going to be like, why did you repeatedly Google Bret Hart face? Why did you repeatedly Google Bret Hart funny thing on face? Can you explain that to me? And the answer is going to be, no, Chris.
I'm guessing there's probably a skin condition involved with it. It has to do with, not getting the same kind of light. And it's not necessarily a tan thing. It's more about your skin being accustomed to,
For the record, and this is true, I don't really wear them that much outside of this building anymore. It's really just for you at this point, Greg. When you told me how much you really like the glasses one day, and I'm like, oh well, I'll make them half of my personality. Sounds like a plan.
Wow, trolling me. I would never do that to you.
What a show we have lined up today, ladies and gentlemen. Plenty of things that we need to get to on the radio broadcast today, because the weekend was quite busy. And we got plenty of stuff to get into. We got some new Rob Gronkowski stories.
A touchdown. That was easy.
That we got to share across the show today. We got the audio blitz at 8 o'clock. We got John Blau at 8:40 to talk Clemson ball. The Tigers were on the bye this week, as were the Gamecocks. It was a day where the residents of the Palmetto State were able to rest easy. Were able to catch their breath just a little bit, specifically the Gamecock fans. But here's the fun part. USC, the cult is a coming to town this weekend. The Aggies are coming up with their dork-ass World War II cosplayers to visit Columbia.
Did the cult win last Saturday?
The cult won against racked LSU this weekend, and that should make you a wee bit apprehensive. It's not to say anything bad or negative, just simply that's a pretty good football team, and Connor Wegman's a dog. He's a dog, an absolute dude. And you know how very, very infrequently I say nice things about Texas A&M. As I said on the show on Saturday, A&M is one of like 2 or 3 fan bases that I'm openly hostile to. I mock them because they're ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. And they did indeed beat the brakes off of LSU this weekend. An LSU team that has already come to Columbia, South Carolina, and taken home a W. Now you got to take on the team that beat them. So we talked about South Carolina. We're going to talk more about this later on in the show, but we talked about South Carolina. And, you know, I thought the games from Ole Miss to Oklahoma, probably the best 3-game stretch in terms of improvement of any 3-game stretch during the Shane Beamer regime. This to me is the selling point that what's happening in Columbia is real. This weekend against the Ags is, to me, going to be the evidence that what has happened and what is happening is legitimate, is genuine, is real. Make it competitive. Again, you will notice. You will note why Brandon got to be up in here taking pot shots this early. It is 6:06 in the morning, sir. Dropping a chat in the stream that says, "How about those Saints?" Yeah, I've been telling you all damn year. We suck. You're not offending me, Brandon. You're not insulting me. I watched some of that game too. It's the first game in a hot minute. I turned it off in the fourth quarter. I didn't care. I'm like, nope. Had a great weekend with the lady friend. Had some family stuff we had to knock out. And then we went out into the woods and did a little camping this weekend. Listened to all the sports via the radio, which was a ball, by the way. I went home yesterday, got home right in time for the 1 o'clock kicks. Enjoyed the 1 o'clock kicks. And then at, about 6 o'clock, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm out. Have a great rest of the run, New Orleans. Have a great rest of the run. I'm at the point now. So I'm coming back to South Carolina. I'm stick with me here. I'm going to come back to the Gamecocks, but there's something else I like to talk about more, and that's me. Going full TO on this. I love me some me. Zoe, am I a bad fan? If this Sunday afternoon in Charlotte, North Carolina, my New Orleans Saints visit to take on the Carolina Panthers, I'm not convinced we can win that football game. To the point that, despite having tickets, despite having parking passes, despite having every convenience of modern life available to me, and because I like my job, all of them free, I still might not go. My own team is playing 2 hours up the road, and I may not go because bleep that.
Yeah, but Rob, you get a chance to hang out with Rashad.
That is true. I have been telling Rashad for like
you
a
have,
year.
and I'm sure he's looking forward to it.
Yeah, but what happens if I'm hanging out with Rashad Beard and the Cats get win number 2 over my garbage ass football team?
Here's the thing. This should be a competitive game because they're both equally bad. So we don't know who's going to win. I mean, don't you want to go see a good game?
Yes, I want to go see a good game.
Or
there ain't going to be a good game played in Charlotte this weekend.
Or a game that's such a mess it's entertaining. Because those kind of games do happen.
This is going to be watching a football game the way that watching like Weekend Update on SNL is watching a news show. Is it kinda like it's kinda that? It has a concept of a football game. It's like a very loose definition of what that is. Do I want to put 2 hours and 500 or 600 miles on the tires of my vehicle to drag me and the lady friend up to Charlotte on a Sunday afternoon to watch my football team stink against a football team that also stinks? Is that a waste of time?
Here's what you should do is swing on by the Ren Fair before you go over there. Then you have a real reason to go to.
Bro, I may just rather go to the Ren Fair. If I'm going to go hate watch something, that's not even hate watch. If I'm going to go watch somebody get their ass kicked, it might as well be like a medieval knight in a jousting contest, not my garbage ass football team. We're so bad, even Spence Daddy Rattler can't save us right now. Just absolute booty cheeks out of my team right now. Am I a bad fan? And I haven't made a decision yet, and I'm not going to make a decision. It's Monday. Game's not till Sunday. But am I going to be a bad fan if I wake up Sunday and the lady friend says, "Are we ready to go to Charlotte?" And I go, No, I'm not. I'm not ready.
You
I
haven't
don't
been
want
to any games this year, right?
I have actually not been to any football games this year. That is correct.
And you have the opportunity to do all that. You're going to go.
I don't know, dog. Like, I'm not even okay. I'm gonna pull the jokes down. This is serious, Rob Brown. I don't know if I want to go. I'm not saying I am not going. And realistically speaking, the likelihood, the tickets are already in hand. The parking passes are already. I don't have to fight. Like, the only thing I got to do is fight traffic. I got a parking pass in the garage connected to the stadium, or like right across from the stadium. The tickets are already in hand. Like, everything is done with the exception of the drive up. And yet, even with all that done, I'm like, I have one day off a week because I do a 4-hour show on Saturdays. I also work multiple hockey games a week. Like, I've got this show. I've got all the work we got to do after the show's over. I got hockey. I got the Saturday show. Triumph are in the playoffs, so I got another Triumph game to go to, at least one more at the house. I got all this stuff to do. I have one day to sit on my couch and not wear pants. I got one day to sit at home with the wife and just enjoy my life not working. One day, 24 hours, where I don't have to do a damn thing. Do I want to sacrifice that to drive to New Orleans to watch Dennis Allen?
You're not driving to New Orleans. You're driving to,
excuse me, Charlotte.
Yeah. There's because New Orleans, that's a little bit further drive.
Oh, I want you to know where I am right now.
I'm not sure you know where you are right now.
After week 2, remember when the Saints were good for like 2 weeks? Remember that? Remember when Derek Carr and the gang were putting 40 spots up on the field? Remember when we went to Dallas and put 41 on them, 47 on Carolina in week 1? Do you remember? At that point, the lady friend and I were that was leading up to the wedding. The lady friend and I were having a conversation. And this was pre the wedding, and we were trying to figure out what the honeymoon plan was going to be. All right, there's a point to this story. Stick with me. We were trying to figure out what the honeymoon plan was going to be. And I said, what if we go to? We're going to be in St. Augustine. What if we pop on over to Disney World? What if we pop on over to Epcot? It's food and wine fest. And on my list of favorite things, food and wine are like 2 of them. So what if we pop on over to Epcot? And she said, that's a possibility. I don't know, though. I don't know how it's, we'll see how we feel. That's going to be a long week. Are we going to want to go through all the stress and chaos of the wedding and then go jump into friggin' Disney World? And I was like, all right, we'll back burner it. I said, but I really want to go to Star Wars Land, and we're going to be ever so close. Rob wants to, because he's a gigantic nerd, Rob wants to go drop like $300 to build his own customized, personalized lightsaber. And I think that's an understandable decision if we're keeping it a buck. So I said, I want to go to Star Wars Land. I want to build my own lightsaber. I want to go through the Jedi Academy. I want to do all this stuff. And she said, well, you do turn 40 next year. She said, if we don't make it now, what if we go down there next February for your birthday? And I said, I accept. She said, there's only one reason we wouldn't go. And I said, why? And she said, if the Saints make the Super Bowl, because she's converted. I've won her over. All right. She is buying her own Saints memorabilia on Amazon now. Got herself a new hoodie for the weekend.
Oh,
Immediately took it right back off.
You guys have only been married a couple months and you're already wearing matching clothes.
We're bleeding over.
No.
We're bleeding over. We're there.
No.
We're there. Dude, we're goofy as hell. We've been doing that since the beginning. So she said the only way that we don't go there for your birthday is if the Saints go to the Super Bowl, in which case I will figure out a way for us to afford Super Bowl tickets. And I said, that's why I married you. I accept. Remember that when we were being considered, not by me, but by like the talking heads on the big channels, and they were going, these Saints are legitimate. These Saints are good. These Saints ain't a joke anymore. Dennis Allen's figured it out. Remember that, and remember how we have not won a football game since then?
Yeah, I don't remember. That all sounds like fiction to me.
Because it was 2 friggin' months ago. This is unbelievable. So you can come up in here with your jokes there, Brandon, all right? Trust me, nobody appreciates you more than me showing up at 6:06 in the morning and being like, watch this. I'm going to set him off. Tank the whole segment, by the way. Good job, Brandon. Tank the whole segment.
No, Brandon, he was going to do this eventually anyway. So
yes!
It's good to get it out of the way.
Shows up 6:06 in the morning, goes, watch this. I'm going to ruin his day before it starts. Nailed it. So am I a bad fan? Because I hate I am actively not like I'm bummed out about the season. Not like, oh, well, this isn't going the way I'd hoped it would. No. I actively dislike my football team. I feel like an Eagles fan right now. They showed the game's on the TV. It's like fourth quarter. The LA Chargers, the rebuild, are just dog walking our asses up and down the field. And they, at one point, they turn the camera and they're like, here's Dennis Allen trying to make, and I'm like, don't bleep Dennis Allen. And everyone on his coaching staff except Clint Kubiak. And I'll tell you none of you care about this. I don't care. You're my therapist right now. All right. You're just going to have to deal with it for a few more seconds and then we'll go to break. I have bought all in. I've got a friend of mine down in New Orleans who covers the Saints, like in locker room reporter for the Saints. And he and I text back and forth. And I said like 2 weeks ago, I was like, bro, what the hell is happening right now? And he said, do you want the reporter answer or do you want my answer that I don't want to be quoted for saying? And I said, yes. And he said, well,
you're about to quote him, though.
I'm not going to say his name.
Okay. All right.
I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to tell you who it was. Just please know that if you are a Saints fan, you know this person. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. So he said the reporter answer is the Saints have been remarkably unlucky when it comes to injuries at key positions to two players, and it has thrown the long-term chemistry off because, you know, you're missing 2 or 3 pieces here, and you might get one back the next week, but then you lose this guy, and you got this guy, and you got this guy, and you got this guy, and, you know, yada, yada, yada. It's been remarkably unlucky, and they have not been able to adapt. And I said, okay, what's your answer? What's the answer you don't want me to tell people I got it from you? And he said, after 2 weeks when the Saints were putting up 40 spots back-to-back and everybody said, oh, this team's real, Dennis Allen got his feelings hurt that everybody was giving credit to Clint Kubiak, so he stepped up and he took over everything. He basically said, hey, Coobs, this is what we do now. We don't do it your way. We do it this way.
Sounds
and
like
that's
an
not
excuse. It really does.
You think it's an excuse when the head coach goes to an offensive coordinator and goes, I am in charge now?
I wasn't there. So, and neither were you. It sounds like an excuse for a team.
He was.
It sounds like an excuse for a team that's not, that's doing poorly.
Yes,
it really does.
Lonzo, when a team's doing poorly, there's a reason. And the reason is what we talk about. And the reason here is that I got an egomaniac of a head coach with a less than 33% career winning percentage who's out there telling the one guy in the building who's actually good at his job, I'm taking your responsibilities away. And would you look at that? All of a sudden, we can't score 7 points.
Are you changing the Rat Daddy off of your... Have you removed that yet?
I changed it, but only because I had to get
you already changed
it.
Okay.
Wait. I have a very good reason for it. I changed it not because of Rat Daddy. I changed it Saturday because I had Steve Garvey on my show on Saturday. And I needed a picture of a screenshot of the screen with me interviewing Steve Garvey, a 10-time Major League Baseball All-Star and World Series champion.
You benched the name just like the player.
I did what?
You benched the name.
No, I didn't.
Just like the player.
I didn't do anything. Again, Dennis Allen, you suck at your job. On site, bro. Hey, we'll talk about y'all's football teams when we come back. Now that Brandon and Lonzo decided let's ruin Rob's day out of the gate. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Mad World.
All right, guys, quick read out of the gate. We're coming right back. Stay right there. So I went in the bathroom to see if I could see what Brett Favre face thing you're talking about. Those are just lines. It's just age, Lonzo. That's just me being 40.
Dude, it goes all the way around. That's
just me being old.
I look at you every day. I'm telling you. All right, not every day, but almost every day. I am sorry that I missed NXT last night. I'm going home and watching it because everything I've seen, it looks awesome.
My wrestling site is once again blocked.
I started to watch it last night, and
I heard it was a great show.
Oh, everything I've seen, it looks amazing.
I watched a little bit of the Nick Nemeth match.
Yes.
And it was really good.
Except for my understanding is that Joe Hendry didn't win.
He did not win, which I do not understand
because people are pretty angry about the fact that he hasn't won.
I've always been a Dolph Ziggler guy, so like I'm not upset that he's getting his time to shine. But yeah, I don't know how you don't put the belt on the most over wrestler in wrestling right now. Feels like a giant. Like I understand you can go, oh, we can save him, right? But like organic pops like what he's put together aren't regular, aren't free, aren't frequent. All right, we've gotten my stuff out of the way here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Let's get your stuff out of the way, upstate South Carolina. Let's start with this. The phone lines are open right now. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone is 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. The text line is open at 71307. If you'd like to get at us in that direction, shoot us a text and start that text with the word fan, F-A-N, fan, and we will read them on the air.
Is meltdown one word or two?
It's just one.
Okay, I was just checking.
It's just one word. In fairness, Eric, Eric responded and said, "Don't worry about it, Rob. I'm going to ruin Cole's show this afternoon. Hashtag Cowboys suck." No, I know. Like Cole and I are about to start a support group, except for we both hate each other's teams. So it's actually going to make it worse now that I think about it. Never mind. Cancel the support group. We don't need it. 71307 is the text line. Start your text with fan, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air.
I just want to say my team will lose eventually. They can't win them all. But they can. They can. I mean, it's not. It's. I guess it is possible, but it's very unlikely.
I can't win them all. My team is team 7-0, and I don't know what it feels like to be you.
I don't get what you're doing now. That's just weird.
I'm saying your smart castery is unnecessary. It's unnecessary right now. Some of us are beaten, downtrodden, laying in the depths, in the ditches of NFL fandom. And here's Chiefs fans Lonzo like, "Hey, Rob, don't worry. I'm sure one of these days I'll feel what it's like to lose a game. Not 6 of them, but 1, maybe 2. We'll see." You were playing the Raiders. What a joke. What a joke.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to talk the rest of the NFL. 71307 is the text line. Tweet me at the Rob Brown Show. Tweet Lonzo at Lonzo on Word. And don't forget about the Ray Memorial. I'm going to tell y'all the truth straight up. Y'all aren't using the Ray Memorial Hotline for its intended purpose. All right? You're just not. The Ray Memorial Hotline is right there for you. You go to the Odyssey app. You search the Fan Upstate. And on the middle of the Fan Upstate page, there's a little circle button with a microphone on it that allows you to drop a 60-second voice note that comes directly to the Great One and I. You're telling me that I've spent all this time telling you, you can utilize it 24/7, 365, anytime, day or night. You can be in any mental or physical condition that you wish. I don't care. And you can leave a 60-second voice note at any point in time. And you're telling me, Y'all don't use it for anything more than the one guy last week who said, "Hey, Rob, I'm eating a hot dog. It has chili on it, but it's still a hot dog." That's the most entertaining voice note I've gotten on the Ray Memorial Hotline.
Wait a minute. So they're spreading lies on the hotline?
Oh,
because that's a lie. It's not true. If you buy a hot dog and it has chili on it, it's a chili dog. And the restaurant that sold it to you, they should be making more money, and they're not.
We went Saturday night. We went out camping with the brother-in-law and sister-in-law. Her brother-in-law and sister. They're both are they both my brother-in-law and sister-in-law now? I don't know how that works. I know that the way I set it up sounded very Roll Tide.
Just call it family.
It sounded very Jamie Lannister.
Went out with the family.
Went out camping with the wife, sister, and brother-in-law. And as we were out there, I built us a big fire and we were roasting hot dogs. And the sister who is a lovely person, and I adore her, said, "Can you hand me a weenie?" Now, no problem with calling them weenies, none at all. But I, roasted her one, and I put her on the bus, said, "Here's your hot dog." And she looked at me, and I was like, why are you staring at me? And she said, "It's not a hot dog." And I went, "No, I'm not doing this. We're in the woods. We're in the woods. It is 11:30 at night on a Saturday night. I'm not having this fight." And then we had that fight for 30 minutes. It's a hot dog. It's a hot dog.
And you
a
won.
hot dog.
I mean, you won before the argument
because
started.
these people refuse to acknowledge they're wrong.
Well, that doesn't mean they're wrong. I mean, you can shout it to the heavens. It doesn't mean you're right.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying they're not going to give up the fight. And you know me, I am one obstinate son of a... So I'm not giving it up either. I'm hard-headed too. All right? All right. So let's talk about your stuff. Did we see anything out of Bryce Young that we liked? I mean, granted, the Denver Broncos, it turns out, and I do want to...
He throws real well to the other team.
Okay, there it is. I knew it was coming. 2 picks, 2 tutties on the day. We can't come in here and say, hey, BY hit a couple of very nice passes for touchdowns, including a slant
Xavier Legette
to Xavier Legette, who then broke out a 55-yard dollar bill ride the horse tutty celebration, which was absolutely spectacular. That man is a national treasure and should be protected at all cost, no doubt. But really nice pass on the slant. Had a couple of big throws down the sideline. Dropped one into the breadbasket of Jalen Coker. That was a dime down the sideline that only Coker could go get. There was the pass that was overthrown for an INT. Wasn't overthrown. Yeah, wide receiver had to go up and elevate it. But the wide receiver had to go through hands and ended up a pick. That should not have been a pick. Should have been a 2 tutty, 1 interception day. Honestly, should have been probably 3 tutties. There were a couple of other moments that I'm like, maybe that one pops, maybe it doesn't. I was encouraged. What if Rashad Beard and me we've been saying it all year long. I'm not looking for you to go win football games right now. I know that to the casual fan, you go, well, that's real dumb, Rob. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because the reality is you don't overnight go from bad team to good team. It is a process that takes a hot minute to get there.
Are you surrounded by people who talk like this? Because that's your voice for everybody who's not you.
Well, I can't give someone a cool voice that I'm then going to disagree with.
Well,
somebody walked in here and
give them
sounded
like a
like
high squeaky voice or something. I mean, let's vary it. I mean,
Well, Rob, your take is terrible.
No, that doesn't work. That is a cool voice.
It was like when the Rock imitated Triple H. I am the game, and my take is good.
You just sound like Macho Man trying to do that.
Oh yeah, I was encouraged. Not like, oh hey, they did it. Hey, Bryce is good now. No, I was encouraged. I said, all right. There's a couple of dots. That looks like a guy who maybe has a little bit more confidence in the rocket launcher.
All right. I decided I was not going to put myself through that, so I just watched Red Zone. So I only saw when they were in the red zone. So I missed some things.
But you saw the inside slant pass to Legette that hit him right in the face.
I did.
Yeah.
Obviously, I saw some things. Yes.
What you may have missed was like I said, a dart down the sideline to Jalen Coker that was like, oh, hell, he can do it. I was encouraged because, again, you don't go from bad to good overnight.
As last season has shown us, he can throw the ball well about 5 times in a season. There was like number 2 this year. Good for him. It's unfortunate, but it's pretty accurate.
You're sheer,
unlike him.
Your sheer pessimism and negativity is really bringing down the mood. All right, really bringing down the mood here, Lonzo. You're being a real buzzkill right now. Real buzzkill. There's some good there. There's some optimism. There's some hope. There's some,
How is there optimism there and there isn't in New Orleans?
We suck.
Yeah, so do the Panthers.
All right, when we come back, I'm going to try again to convince Alonzo that BY's got a little something in the bottle. We got to work to bring him out.
And you're going to get to the phones.
I am.
Hang on, Dale. We're late.
Dale, I see you're there. We're going to talk about what you want to talk about next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Yes, JB, I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's exactly what we should do, but we're not going to.
Look, winners.
For the exact same reason that Dennis Allen is the head coach now, when we all knew we should have canned his ass last year.
Is it time for me to embrace the heel when it comes to Chiefs hate? I think it may be time for me to just go full on.
Yes. How many times have I said?
Yeah, but I'm not.
No one likes you. You might as well. No one likes you but you.
Yeah.
Not you, your team. But
no, I get what you're saying. There's probably some of that too. But yeah,
when the
watch them barely beat the Raiders. Watch them barely beat the best teams and the worst teams.
When the Bounty Gate stuff started and everybody, it was like the cool thing to do, become the Saints, to hate the Saints. Yeah, I just leaned into it. I was like, you know what? We're not getting away from this. So bleep it. I'll be the bad guy.
Yeah, I don't want it to backfire on me. Me embrace the heel and then suddenly start
Here's
losing.
the problem.
And
Here's the problem. If you lose, they're gonna dunk on you anyway. So you might as well have some fun between here and there, right?
That is very true. That is a good point.
The people are going to be buttholes to you when you lose, whether you're a heel or not. They're just going to, because nobody likes your team except you.
All right, when the Chiefs lose, because they're not going to win every game, it's going to be to somebody they shouldn't lose to. That's just how that works.
Lose on the road at Carolina for no reason.
It could happen.
I'm going to say no, it can't.
We'll see. They play the Buccaneers next Monday. They could lose.
That's a losable game.
They could.
No, it's not. Not without Godwin and Evans.
They play the Broncos after that.
That one is for the same reason Browns Ravens was interesting yesterday, right?
Oh no, I had Browns all the way in that.
Shut up.
I did.
Shut up.
I'm always going to root against Baltimore.
Okay, you didn't have them. You were just rooting against them.
No. But Jameis coming in, an actual quarterback throwing the ball, whatever you think about him, he's better than Deshaun.
I think I might be better than Deshaun.
No. Then they play the Bills. That's definitely losable.
That's losable.
Yeah. Then the Panthers. The Raiders again, Chargers, Browns, Texans. There's another losable game.
The newness of Winston will have worn off at that point.
Steelers, that's another losable game. Although they're used to beating Russell Wilson, so that's probably not. Yeah.
Will you pull that volume down just in case I have the – I'm pretty sure I have it right, but –
I love nachos.
I do love nachos.
Nachos and pizza, the perfect foods. You can put
It's hard to
on them.
disagree with that, to be honest. What? Damn, really? First hour on a Monday?
Yeah.
Woof. One of my favorite things about doing radio is when you guys call the show. Do it more often. 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. I'm a people person. I like talking to the people. So call the show, 844-FANFONE. One of my favorite things about when people call is that Lonzo puts on our little call screening software, who's calling, and like just a bullet point about what they want to talk about. And my favorite thing is always to say, I wonder what their angle of attack is going to be here. I wonder what the take is going to be. Sometimes I don't have to guess. So when Dale calls the show and says he wants to talk about Dak Prescott, I'm just going to sit back because I'm relatively sure, could be wrong, relatively sure I know where Dale is going to go. Dale, welcome to the show, big fella. How we doing, buddy?
Good morning, man of the people.
Man of the people.
He said men, but I mean, of course, you would only think of you. All right. Continue, Dale.
All right. What is the chances that Dak Prescott takes away the 30 INT interception record from Jameis Winston this year?
I got to tell
I
you,
believe he's on pace for that.
I want you to know, Dale.
I don't know. Patrick Mahomes is throwing an interception in every single game. I think.
Patrick Mahomes leading the league. Dale, here's what I'm going to say. First off, I wish I was as good at anything as Dak Prescott turns into in a fourth quarter game where his team's getting their asses kicked and suddenly he decides he wants to be a stat patter. It's pretty impressive. I don't know the answer. Can I tell you my biggest fear for you, Dale? I'm assuming you're a Cowboys fan. Is that correct?
Of course I am. And
Okay.
Cole Bryson's going to hear it too.
Okay. All right. Here's my biggest fear about Dak Prescott for you and Cole Bryson. My biggest fear is at the end of the year, JJ, your general manager, Jerry Jones, who has been spectacular at his job, decides it's time to make a move. And he trades Dak Prescott and he sends him on down the road. And Dak's going to go somewhere else and be a Pro Bowler, because if the Cowboys think the only issue they got is Dak Prescott right now, Dale, you're going to learn something the hard way if JJ doesn't make some changes, which, as I've said many times, Jerry Jones has entered Al Davis territory. That territory where you can't be good until he dies, because he ain't going away any other way.
I agree with you. It's not solely Dak. I think the biggest mistake was not giving Derrick Henry a phone call.
I mean, yeah. You ended up in a spot where you let Tony Pollard go after the year he had last year. Derrick Henry is not just out there and available, Dale, but he actively was saying, I'm interested. Can you imagine the hell you would give your boy if you guys were out one night and like a 10 of 10 walked up to him at the bar and was like, I'm interested in you taking me home, and he fumbled that? He never hear the end of it. And Jerry Jones should not either, which is why I found it so damn hilarious a couple of weeks ago when one of the radio dudes in Dallas was like, hey, JJ, why are you bad at your job? And Jerry's response was, oh, this is all the media's fault. Like I said, Dale, you got bigger problems than just Dak Prescott. I'm not saying he's not one of them, but you got a lot of problems that are above the Dak Prescott level that are preventing you guys from getting anything going.
Agreed. Now, let me ask you this. With the amount of money that is tied up into that quarterback and receiver combination, should those two not be able to carry a team into wins instead of throwing the game away early?
I think
They're already one-dimensional. So why is it he turns it on in the fourth when we already know you're one-dimensional? You're going to drop back. You're going to throw it 55, 60 times a game.
Typically because you guys are trailing in the fourth, and so defenses aren't blitzing. They're not doing anything exotic. They fall back into a base defense, 3-4-4-3, whatever it is they're running, but they're rushing four. Right? Like it basically becomes a situation where, at least in my opinion, and I think this was true about the San Francisco game last night, I watched midway through the third quarter, I bailed and went to bed. From what I saw, San Francisco was utilizing a lot of different blitz techniques from a lot of different places. It was safeties off the edge. It was cornerbacks up the middle. It was extra linebackers dropping a DN into coverage to bring extra heat from one side or the other. There were like a lot of different looks that San Francisco was giving you guys. And the problem is it's not even just Dak under pressure. The problem is your running backs don't scare anybody at all. I'm sorry. The fact that you have Ezekiel Elliott back there as one of your two starters that's all I need to say. I'm going to stop everything I'm saying, Dale, and go and say Jerry Jones thought Ezekiel Elliott, who wasn't good enough for the New England Patriots, was the solution to this offense's problem. And oh, by the way, Mike McCarthy's still calling the plays. I don't understand your team, Dale. That's not true. I do understand your team. Your team is run by an egomaniac of an owner who thinks that his way is the only way and his way is the right way, and it hasn't been the right way for the better part of, 25 years now?
Sounds about right. All right, one more for you. What about the ending to that Chicago-Washington game, huh?
Sir. If you think that I don't have a whole segment drawn up, and I appreciate the phone call, Dale, great to talk to you this morning, buddy. If you don't think that I have an entire freaking segment ready to go about the absolute sheer chaos that was Jayden Daniels being him with a capital free. Okay, in fairness, Jayden Daniels didn't lead the offense to a single touchdown until that. But the legend grows nonetheless.
By the way, Dak Prescott's in second place as far as interceptions go. There's a three-way tie at first for that, and that would be Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes, and Jordan Love. They all have 9. Dak has 8.
Do me a favor, Lonzo.
One of the more accurate quarterbacks in the league with only 1 interception, Justin Fields. Just saying.
I am. What? He's also got one of the, what's his passing attempts compared to those guys? About a quarter? About a fourth of them? You said Baker Mayfield, whose Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a half game off their division lead. You said Jordan Love, whose Green Bay Packers are a half game off their division lead in the most gnarly division in football right now. And who was the last one? Patrick Mahomes? Yeah. He quarterbacks the only undefeated, a 7-0 football team. So if Dak Prescott is second to 3 guys that are no more than a half game off the pace in their division. And if it wasn't for the New York freaking Giants, the Dallas Cowboys would be last in their division. Again, I am not making the argument that Dak Prescott isn't a problem. Dak Prescott is a problem for sure. I think Dak Prescott, however, has some other problems. As I said, coming into this year for the Dallas Cowboys, who the hell's your playmaker? You got CeeDee Lamb, you got Tony Ferguson, a tight end. Having a good tight end that you can turn into a bona fide, genuine, certified superstar is a phenomenal asset. But if I ain't scared of anybody else, I can take a tight end out of every play. That's easy. Hey, Mike linebacker. Nope, sorry. Hey, Sam linebacker. Strong side, left side. Hey, Sam linebacker. You see that guy right there, the tight end? I'm going to need you on him like stink on a turd today. Don't you let him get away from you. That's real easy. That's because there's no other threats anywhere else. I got to worry about CeeDee Lamb and Tony Ferguson because I got to tell you right now, I ain't worried about Ezekiel Elliott. And that is the football team that Jerry Jones half built. And then whenever anybody, and I don't think you need to be a holder of a master's in knowing of ball to diagnose what the hell's wrong with the Dallas Cowboys. And if you do that, which you don't have to be, if you do that, JJ will blame it on you. I'm sorry, Jerry. Once again, who signs the contracts? Who does the negotiating? Who does the roster building? You have for many, many years taken great pride in the fact that you're the biggest, smartest football boy in any room, haven't you? Don't you regularly tell people that nobody can do what you can do, Jerry? Nobody understands that team and that market and that brand like you do. Right, Jerry? Ladies and gentlemen, the mark of the worst kind of leader is the person who, when bleep hits the fan, immediately starts to blame every single one around them. Like a couple of weeks ago when JJ was on the radio and he told 2 hosts who had the audacity to say, hey, Jerry, why is your team bad? And he said, oh, blah, 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 blah. This this is the media's fault. It's you guys spinning these false narratives, and it's shut up, dude. When you make yourself the general manager, you have to answer questions about general managing. Jera, when you make yourself the GM and you're the one that's in charge of all the things, you're the one that has to answer the questions when the things are not good. And right now, the things are not good, Jera. The things are not good. You lost by a score last night. I don't know how much, if any, of that game you watched before laying your sweet head down to sleep, Lonzo. A 30-24 scoreline has absolutely no indicativeness of the ass whooping San Francisco put on Dallas last night.
I fell asleep watching it. I did have it on, but
that was the correct decision.
Yeah.
Correct decision. San Francisco.
Do you do that and then try to figure out how the TV got turned off? Because I
got a sleep timer on my TV.
Yeah, I don't want to do that, because if I do that, then I'll stay awake past the timer.
No,
Because my brain would be like, time's coming up. You need to be asleep. Why are you not asleep? You should be asleep because timer's getting ready to run out. And then what's going to happen? So I can't do that.
You ever seen a therapist about potential anxiety issues?
It's not anxiety. It's overthinking, and my brain won't stop working. So it's better to go to sleep relaxing.
Or ADHD. That's a strong possibility.
Or
as someone who is clinically diagnosed.
Or the fact that much of my life is spent with time and timing things out and knowing what time it is. And so because I know what time it is, I know when the popcorn's done. I know if I set something for 5 minutes, I can walk in there with 2 seconds left. I know all that. So if I set a timer, my brain automatically knows when it's almost time for that time to be up.
That's obsessive compulsive.
No, time is my job. It is my job.
Right, but you understand the reason you might be good at it is because maybe you're ADHD.
I wasn't good with time until I started.
Until you got this job?
So I started working on radio, and it became my job. Yes.
Okay. It's just curiosity.
You, on the other hand, not good with time. So, I mean.
Real bad with time.
So you don't understand
That's
me.
why I'm on this side. Good with loud noises, bad with watches. It just is what it is. Jerry, your team's bad. And it's kind of your fault.
Yeah, but they're not that. I mean, they're not Panthers Saints bad. They're just.
Hey, at the end of the year, I don't think Jera is going to hang a banner in Jerry World that says 2024 Dallas Cowboys, not as bad as the Saints.
It's okay. It's all right. Dion will be moving up next year, and he'll be the Dallas Cowboys coach, and we'll see what happens.
I want to push back and say that's a terrible idea, but Colorado's in the top 25 now.
Yeah, and well, one of his sons will be graduating, not both of them. So maybe he sticks around till the other one graduates. I doubt it, though.
Shador's out next year.
Yeah, so
Shador's out next year, and
gets drafted in the late round by the Dallas Cowboys, and suddenly you've got a new.
I'm glad you brought that up. I really am, because I have a question generated by the legendary Todd McShay. And we're going to talk about that coming up in about, we'll call it 20 minutes. But when we come back, the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office this AM and start talking sports with your coworkers. Stories you need to know in the world of sports. We got something else for that. Lonzo is about to flash you.
Hey, check this out. Bryce Young's non-triumphant return as a starter for the Carolina Panthers resulted in a 28-14 loss on the road to the Denver Broncos. Young finished the day 24 of 37 with 2 interceptions and 2 touchdowns to Xavier Leggett, and rookie Jalen Coker. Carolina Panthers play the Saints at home this Sunday. Going to be a barn burner. San Francisco 49ers dominated the Dallas Cowboys last night, though a couple of late touchdowns kept it close with a 30-24 final score. San Francisco racked up 223 total rushing yards and held Dallas to 56 and picked off Dak Prescott twice. Make sure you tune in this Friday at 7 p.m. as the Burns Rebels head to Boiling Springs to take on the Bulldogs. It's Burns versus Boiling Springs right here on your home for Burns Rebels football. It's us. It's the Fan Upstate. So I bought a 3-foot tall Batman yesterday for $20 just because.
Because you're an adult with
So,
his own
dude, I
money.
mean, it was $20, and I, you know, he's now standing, you know, beneath one of my TVs with an arm pointed, you know, up towards that TV. Because, yeah. Also, Cameron forgot something Saturday, so Raven dropped it off, and Silver got to see the picture out there. She's just like,
Pops on the building. What does she call you?
Pawpaw. Because I didn't want that.
She's got that Reitzel blood in her.
No. That's my daughter's fault. It's okay now. I wouldn't have it any other way, but still. She watched me. She saw which one made me flinch, and that's the one. That's the one she chose.
That Reitzel blood in her.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
Wondering what the next 10 years will bring. Whatever it brings, Lumos 100% fiber optic internet is ready with incredible speeds and reliability. So you can do more and be more than you ever thought possible on the internet built for the future.
Did you see the SeaWorld story last week?
I did not.
We talked about it Saturday.
What's the
So an orca or
the whale poop?
yeah,
I did see that.
yeah.
I did see that.
That made the flaccid stories segment for sure. What do you do if your mouth was open? I mean, you know, it just ugh. They actually had a SeaWorld in Ohio for a while. It only lasted like a couple years. Then they turned it into a water park, but still.
Let's face it, nowadays most companies have to rely on dozens of expensive disconnected plastic. And even then, things can get a little, well, stressful. But with Odoo's all-in-one management software, packed with a suite of fully integrated business applications, every process is streamlined. Tasks are automated, and success is just a few clicks away. See how Odoo can take your business to the next level at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Oh.
Rebels 58-14. Put the Orange Rebels at 3-5 on the season and 3-2 in region play.
I sent you something on Twitter.
Yeah. Okay, only 4, but none of them in the.
You should watch it. It's brutal. It's only like 5 seconds.
I don't want to, based on your reaction.
No, it's wrestling.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that. The
Welcome
belief is
back,
she lost
Cora.
the tooth. And here we go. Our number 2 of the Monday edition of the Rob Brown Show starts now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Spectacular as always to have you. My name is Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, is over on the ones and the twos this AM. You can be a part of the radio broadcast. There's a handful of different ways for you to participate in our fun and shenanigans. The first is to give us a call on the Renewal by Andersen of the Carolinas fan phone at 844-326-3663. That's 844-FANFONE. The second is on our text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. The third way that you can interact with our lovely radio program is to hit us up on X at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, at The Fan Upstate goes to everybody. The fourth way to get in touch with the radio broadcast is on the Ray Memorial Hotline. Go to the Audacy app, A-U-D-A-C-Y. Grab it, put it on all of your digital devices, and when you go to the Audacy app, you search the Fan Upstate page, you click the little heart icon, and once you do, you'll see on the Fan Upstate page a little circular button with a microphone on the inside. You punch that button, and you can leave up to a 60-second voice note that comes directly to the great one and I. Go to the Audacy app, go to the Fan Upstate page, click the circle mic button, and leave us a voice note on the Ray Memorial Hotline. That's all the different ways for you to get in touch with the show. And once you are in touch with the show, you will inevitably and obviously become an everyday listener. 4 hours, 6 till 10, Monday through Friday, including the 7 o'clock segment where Lonzo and I go through the world of sports, tell you everything that's going on that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports. If you're going to do that, you got to know what's going on so you don't look like a goober. And that's why we do this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
"That doesn't work for me, brother."
before they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It's the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with whoever you're going to talk sports with this AM. So let us dive right in with item number 1. Ordinarily, item number 1 on Mondays is a Palmetto State football review where we take a look at all the games that took place from all the schools and all the pro franchises around the area. Today, alas, just the Carolina Panthers to get to 28-14. They fall on the road. They go mile high and get let down low as Denver doubles them up. 28-14, your final. Bryce Young making his return as QB1, 24 of 37, 224 yards, 2 tutties, a pair of picks, one of them in NHF INT. The Panthers' run game faltered. 20 carries combined, 69 rushing yards combined, 56 of them racked up by Chuba Hubbard. Nobody else had more than 7 yesterday when it was all said and done. You did have 78 yards of receiving from Jalen Coker on 4 grabs. David Moore had 4 for 39. Miles Sanders had 7 snags for 38 yards. You know what that number tells me? What that number tells me is Dave Canales recognizes, hey, we probably need to simplify this offense down a little bit so Bryce can find his stroke, can find his rhythm. How do you do that? You utilize the running back in the pass game. You utilize him as an emergency outlet. You utilize him as a last resort. They did that with Miles Sanders. 7 grabs for 38 yards. Xavier Legette had 4 for 34. Chuba had a pair for 15 when it was all said and done. Bo Nix, 28 of 37, 284, 3 tutties, no picks. He also ran in a touchdown as well. The only player responsible for a tutty. Cortland Sutton crossed the century mark in receiving. Adam Trotman, a tight end, had 4 snags for 85 yards and 1 touchdown for the Denver Broncos. This was with, by the way, this was with a pair of Denver fumbles lost. However, the fun thing was at the end of the game, in the fourth quarter, when Sean Payton was like running fake field goals and stuff, Sam Franklin was very upset. Let me get here it is. Click the wrong button. Here's Sam Franklin.
Yeah, we're all competitors at the end of the day. We just felt like there's something that could have been avoided. Like, you shouldn't have to try to run the score up, even though you're already winning. Like, there's 5 minutes left. You guys doing trick plays, still trying to score. So basically just trying to embarrass us. So, I just have faith in this team.
So Sam Franklin's upset because Sean Payton in the game were running trick plays and fake field goals and trying to run the score up. And my response to Sam Franklin would be, I get it, bro. You're up in your feelings right now, and it is more than understandable why you are. But here's the unfortunate part for the Carolina Panthers. NFL teams don't really get live scrimmages once the season starts. And by don't really, I mean they don't at all. Which means if you got something in the back of the playbook that you want to run against the real defense to see if you can pull it off or not, if you got something that, hey, we can run this in practice, but let's keep it a buck. It working in practice ain't the same as it working in a game. If you want live rep of a thing, you get very few chances to try it on an NFL field. Well, when you're up a couple of scores late in the game and the game is out of reach, the game is over, that's a wonderful time to break some stuff out of the back of the playbook to see if it'll work or not. They weren't doing that to try to embarrass you, Sam Franklin. I promise you, they don't care about you. There's that. I forget what movie it was. Zoe, you may know off the top of your head, but there's a very famous movie scene where guy says, I've been thinking about that thing that you did to me for years. And the guy looks at the other guy and he goes, I've not thought about you at all. Devastating, Burn. That's kind of what you are now, unfortunately, Panthers. I'm very sorry to say, Sam Franklin. The Broncos didn't run a fake field goal to try to embarrass you. They ran a fake field goal to practice a fake field goal because they, unlike you, may be in a game down the line that matters. And they may need that in the back pocket. Well, the only way to find out if you can do it or not is to do it. They weren't doing it. If you don't want them to do it to you, stop them from doing it. This is professional athletics. If this is college, maybe I feel different. If it's high school, I definitely feel different. If this is a different level of football, I probably have a different attack to this take. But my man, you're in the National Football League. You're getting paid millions of dollars to be out there. I'm not super worried about you being embarrassed. If you don't want them to run fake field goals, maybe don't be in a spot where you're down 2 scores with just minutes left to play and they have the opportunity to practice because whatever you do is inconsequential. We'll talk more about that coming up later on in the radio broadcast as we continue to break down the Panthers' loss to the Broncos. But for now, let us get to item number 2. 2 games in the bag in the World Series. 2 games in the bag for the LA Dodgers. The World Series started back on Friday, and it was a 6-3 win for LA, courtesy of a walk-off grand slam. Ladies and gentlemen, there's never been a hit in baseball in 2024 that was more deserving of being called a gigantic dong from Freddie Freeman, who sent a ball into low Earth orbit. In the end of that game, the Dodgers take game 1 6-3 in 10 innings. Then they ran it back on Saturday night, and despite a masterclass from the Yankees, Yoshinobu Yamamoto was just stellar in this game. Outlasted the Yankees in that spot. Carlos Rodon went out to the bump. Did not have a bad game at all, but when it came time to clench up and clutch up, the Dodgers got it done late. The Yankees didn't 4-2, and that brings us to tonight, where we have World Series game number 3. Walker Buehler. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that one. Walker Buehler on the bump tonight for the Dodgers. He'll take on Clark Schmidt at 8:08 p.m. first pitch. The Dodgers taking the cross-country flight out to the Big Apple, New York City, to take on the Yankees on the road. The format for the World Series, 2-3-2, meaning that we will play 3 games in the Bronx before they fly cross-country back to L.A. for games 6 and 7, if necessary. Listen, the Yankees had their opportunity to nullify home field advantage, to steal home field advantage away from the Dodgers, and they failed to do so. So now all the pressure on the Bronx Bombers. I think they have to take all 3 at home. I do not think they can lose a game at home, because losing a game at home means you are inevitably going back. I mean, you're already going back to LA, even if you win all 3. But you've got to give yourself 2 chances to win 1 at LA. You cannot go back to LA needing to go 2 for 2, especially knowing that when you get to game 6, you're going to have to see Yamamoto again, who already diced you up once. I'm very interested to see how that plays out. World Series game number 3 set to go this evening at 8:08 p.m. Now let's get to item number 3. It's every Monday that we tell you your new AP Top 25 in college football. The top 4 spots remain the same. The Oregon Ducks hang on to that number 1 spot as it stands and have 61 of the 62 available first place votes. They were one disgruntled SEC voter away from being a consensus AP number 1. That last first place vote belongs to the number 2 Georgia Bulldogs, the highest ranked 1-loss team. They are 1 spot ahead of the Penn State Nittany Lions at number 3 at 7-0. Are the Penn State Nittany Lions 1 spot ahead of the second highest ranked 1-loss team, Lonzo Ohio State University. The Buckeyes are 6-1. Whew. Lonzo was sweating a little on Saturday.
I wasn't, but you were right.
What do you mean you wasn't?
Because
how was you wasn't? They had the ball down a field goal in the last couple of minutes and had scored a couple of times.
Yeah, I wasn't that worried. I will say that
I nailed this game, by the way.
You did. And that's all I was thinking is, man, Rob was right about this. Chip Kelly as a play caller got some problems.
Uh-oh.
I got some problems. It's called, I don't know if you knew this, and maybe someone needs to tell them that they have 2 of the best running backs in college football. I mean, maybe you forgot. Maybe you forgot. I don't know.
We are going to talk some Ohio State University Buckeyes later in the show because, yes, I did nail the pick, and that's not why we're going to talk. I mean, it's going to be mentioned. It's not why we're going to talk about it.
Come on, that's definitely influencing why we're talking about it.
No, I think we're going to talk about him because as I was perusing the social media last night, so I found, interestingly enough, a little subsection of Ohio State Twitter where the Ryan Day questioning has grown ever louder. And not just the Ryan Day can't beat Michigan takes that I had a problem with all off season. No, just I don't think he's the guy in general takes from the Buckeye fans this weekend. I got some sound from a couple of podcasts I pulled we may get to later in the show, but the heat from Buckeye fans, from horse chestnut fans around Ryan Day sparked a little bit this weekend. What with the episode. Now, I would say to all of them, should they be listening to this show, great one, I think you are underappreciating exactly what these Nebraska Cornhuskers are right now. That's a good football team. I know you don't want to believe it because we've all spent the last 30 years watching Nebraska be irrelevant. That's a good little football team that's being built over there by Matt Rule. So I'm not shocked that it was a game like it was, but the loud fans are growing louder. Great one.
Also, not targeting.
Ooh, we're going to talk about that coming up too, because David Pollock's not happy. And I want to talk about that here in just a little while. Ohio State number 4, the Miami Hurricanes, for the first time since 1733, are in the AP top 25 at number 5, inside the top 5. They are one spot ahead of, in fact, flipped spots. I don't understand. Well, I do understand it. I thought Texas was going to blow the doors off of Vandy. It turns out the doors might be for real, dude. Not like, haha, that was fun. Oh, they got Bama, lulz. Ain't that cute? You know the way that you go out and you're in the gym and like a 6-year-old hits a half-court shot. You're like, damn, that's impressive. Nobody actually believes that kid is like a great 3-point shooter. He just went, oh, that was fun. I think a lot of people felt that about the doors. I thought Texas was going to blow the doors off the doors this weekend, but Vandy hung tough with the Horns. 27-24, Texas drops a spot down to number 6 after that performance. They are one spot ahead of 6-1 Tennessee, who is a spot ahead of Notre Dame, who demolished Navy 51-14. They moved 4 spots up to number 8. BYU up 2 spots to number 9. And the cult of Texas A&M jumps Clemson to claim the last spot in the top 10. Clemson off this weekend. They fall 2 spots down to number 11, 1 spot ahead of undefeated Iowa State, who is also on the bye this weekend. The Hoosiers, which I learned was a thing that they do. Thank you, Pat McAfee.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They're number 13, undefeated. They knocked off Washington 31-17. They do not move in the poll, however. Alabama comes up a spot to 14 after, that's more like it, 34-0 winners over the team that Rob Brown told you preseason was the most overrated team in the top 25, the Missouri Tigers. 34-0. Ashton Jeanty and Boise State knock off UNLV 29-24. They go to number 15, up a pair of spots. LSU, after getting demo jobbed out by the Colt, fall 8 spots down to number 16. K-State, Pitt, and Ole Miss are 17-8 and 19. The top 25 concludes with number 20, SMU. Army was on the bye this week. They are undefeated at 7-0, number 21. Washington State got the road win at San Diego State. They are at number 22. Colorado making their first appearance in the AP Top 25 at number 23 with a 34-23 win over Cincinnati. Illinois gets hammered by Oregon, 38-9, your final out in Autzen. The Illini drop 4 spots to 24, and Mizzou, with that 34-0 loss we mentioned, drops down, still inside the top 25, but just hanging on. Vandy is number 26. The Doors, ain't no joke. Memphis 34, Tulane 28 votes, Navy 23. All these teams stacked 26 down. Louisville has 5 votes, Arkansas 4, UNLV 4, Louisiana Lafayette 3, and the last team inside the top 30 with a vote, the South Carolina Gamecocks, threatening if they knock off the Aggies this weekend, South Carolina will make their appearance inside the top 25. There's your water cooler cheat sheet, the stories you need to know before you get to the office. When we come back here in just a minute, I am ever so glad, great one, that you brought up that targeting discussion because David Pollock and Greg McElroy had a couple of things that they had to talk about, and now I wish to talk about it as well, and we will next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, give me just a minute. We'll be right back. right, y'all. We're back. Thanks for hanging in there. Appreciate y'all. As always. The Rob Brown Show continues. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob the Great One, Lonzo, and you. Lonzo, would you like to walk us through your take on the targeting call that took place in the Buckeye game this weekend?
All right, first of all, bang, bang, play.
Bang,
as
bang,
they
play.
say, it was very fast.
Bang, bang!
But the majority of the blunt of the hit was on the shoulder pads. And then the arm slipped off and hit a little bit of the helmet, and they called it targeting. And I don't understand what targeting is. I mean, I get the helmet thing.
Yep.
Everything else, I don't understand what it is, and I don't think they do either.
So, you have an issue with the targeting calls. A lot of people have an issue with the targeting calls right now.
The other issue I have is now that player, a very good player, is going to miss a half of football against Penn State,
which is the game remaining in the Big Ten, right? This game.
There's still another undefeated team that they have to play. Indiana.
Hoosiers! I am all in on the Kurt Cignetti bandwagon.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win.
Google me. What an icon. What an icon. We're going to come around to that because that is looking more and more like Indiana's not a novelty. That's a good football team.
All right. Zach says shoulders are head and neck area. Okay. No. I said shoulder pads. It was more in the pec area where he hit him.
So,
and which shoulder pads are connected right there. So it's going to be the shoulder pad area.
You were not the only problem with a targeting call. David Pollock, former Georgia Bulldog turned talking head in the landscape of college football, was having a conversation on a live stream with former Alabama quarterback Greg McElroy. And, I'll play it for you, then we'll address it.
I'm so sick and tired of targeting. So I propose a rule change. If an offensive player lowers his head and targets a defensive player, you need to be kicked out as well. If you initiate helmet to helmet, why is it always the defensive player that gets punished?
It's fair. I mean, there's no
Thank
pushing
you.
back on it. They're not going to make the game less safe. So reeling back the targeting foul is not something that I think they're in a real hurry to do. Look, I know you look at it from a defender's perspective, and to see offensive targeting, I think would be an appropriate addendum to the rule. You wouldn't find any pushback from me, especially considering it's ball carrier safety. I'm okay with that.
When you're defenseless, dude, have at it. But when
Right.
you're a ball carrier and you're lowering your shoulder and you're creating contact and changing a level, there has to be something in there that we work so dang hard all week, all year to sit out games, dude. We only get so many opportunities, and I can't swallow that.
Okay, so let's go a couple of responses here. I'll start with this. The majority of the targeting calls that have taken place, not all of them, not 100% of them, but a large percentage of them, I don't have a problem with. And I don't have a problem with them because they are called to the rule as written. The majority of the targeting calls are very simply because the face mask is pointed at the turf, not the player. Okay? This is one of those frustrating things that I've had plenty of conversations. How was that targeting? Because the face mask was down. This is why when I hear
but
Pollock say,
you know why the face mask is down? Is because the offensive players, they always lower their head. They do. So that's going to make the face mask down.
I am fine. I am fine if you want to say that when an offensive player strikes with the crown of the helmet, they should be called for targeting as well.
They never are, though.
Yes,
that counts. We're even.
1-1.
Okay.
I'm not, you're right. They never are. But I'm saying I'm fine with Pollock if that's the response here. What I am throwing out is Pollock's take it's only that, well, number one, the defender targets an offensive player. An offensive player, with rare exception, is not intending to hit a defender. In fact, most ball carriers are intending to not get hit by a defender.
Unless your name's Pacheco.
Again, very few.
There are a couple of those guys out there.
Adam Prentice, Travis Kelce, these guys look for contact when they're running the football, but the majority of guys are not trying to get hit. That's why it is a penalty that is called primarily, exclusively on defenders, okay? But, and this is something that I have said is a failure of coaches for a very long time. If you are not teaching a kid to hit with the head up, to lead with the face mask, if you have a defender after an entire offseason that is still hitting by dropping the head and going in with the top of the hat, what do you expect? This should not be shocking to you. It should not be catching anybody by surprise. If you go in as a defender with the face mask pointed at the grass, if you go in as a defender and hit with the top of the helmet, it's gonna get called. I think this is one of those times that I get frustrated. We got a texter just wrote the show, said get rid of targeting and do unnecessary roughness in 15 yards and have at it.
You know, all the stuff that you're talking about does not apply to this hit. It does not. The helmet was not used. This was used right here, the forearm. I'm looking at it right now.
Send it to me, would you? Because I want to watch it again.
Yeah, because the helmet was not used.
I want to watch it again. But the majority of the plays that I have seen called targeting, people go, how was that a target? How was that? Because you led with the head. It's really not all that complicated of a philosophy. I forget who it was last week.
I sent it to you.
I forget who it was last week, but there was a targeting call last week, and I was watching. Golly, what game was it? I don't remember. I was watching last week at a buddy's house, and there was a targeting call called that they were like, how in the world is that targeting? Yeah, you know what, Lonzo? I actually agree with you. That was a chicken wing of a hit. And on top of that, even if it wasn't a chicken wing of the hit, the head, like his head wasn't up, but it wasn't down. Like he wasn't looking at the grass. I actually am fine.
Wherever his head was, it didn't hit the player. I mean, it was a forearm shiver to the pec area, and because of how quick it was.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you why it was. In looking at it, I am watching this replay. I'll pull it up on the screen here in just a second. The forearm shiver hits him in the face mask. 100% it does.
Comes off.
It doesn't matter. It hit him first in the face mask.
No. It hits the shoulder pad and it slips off and hits the face.
I'm gonna. In fact, go to the live stream right now at facebook.com/thefanupstate, the Fan Upstate on YouTube, or the Rob Brown Show on Facebook, Twitch, or Twitter. I'm gonna pull it up right now and we'll take a look at it. But I think what you're gonna see here's the moment before contact. Watch the right arm. That's face mask. That's all face mask.
It hasn't even impacted the player yet.
I'm gonna. I guess I can't zoom in here. 100%. That's on the face mask. It just is.
It's not.
It just is. I've watched it a number of times. That is a chicken wing to the face. That's why they're going to call that.
No, it's not. It is not.
Dude, I don't know what you're looking at. Watch the head at the moment of contact. Again, you got to join the stream for this moment. Watch his head.
If you let the thing play out, you're stopping it at one angle. If you let it play out all the way, you'll see that it was not in the helmet. And they showed a bunch of different angles during the game, and it was not in the helmet. And then they yelled at Ryan Day, the announce team, for throwing his headset, and he never threw his headset. He pulled it off and acted like he was going to throw it. He never threw it.
I don't care about any of that. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is
not targeting.
That I am going to disagree with you on that. Here's the run at full speed. They are going to call that 100% of the time.
And I vehemently believe that you're wrong.
That's okay. Watch his head. Watch the head at the moment of contact. The head jerks back because he got hit in the head.
You know what happens? Have you ever been in a car accident or anything like that? When you get hit somewhere, your head's going to rock back. It's not going to stay forward.
No.
That's how impact works.
Listen, here's my thought. Not my thought. This is how it works. You're right. Your head's going to jerk in a...
So we can walk over there and let me go as fast as I can, which is not very fast, and shiver you right there and watch what your head does.
Right, because you have moved my body away from my head.
Right.
If the head jerks first, what's going to move
does
first?
Not jerk first.
It absolutely does. Watch it right here. The head goes first. Bang, and then the chest comes behind it.
The head does not go back till he hits the ground. No. It's amazing how two people can look at the same thing and see something totally different. I'm completely right on this, and you're beyond wrong. Whatever the next thing of wrong is, you are.
No, I'm not. So with whatever way you want to look at it, they're going to call that a targeting. All right, they just are. That's just how that call is going to get made 100 out of 100 times. But all that being said, the first thing I would say is first off, this wouldn't happen if replay was part of the game.
I'm not being mean when I say this. Do you have your contacts on behind your sunglasses?
I don't need them. My computer screen's right
I
can't see far away.
That's what I thought.
I can't see far away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that old. Now, what I will say in this moment for Pollock and everybody else is this. I don't have an issue with like 90 to 95% of targeting calls because it's the same mistake that gets made over and over and over. If you lead with the head up and you contact the helmet, it's getting called. That's not a question mark. That's a statement. If you want to make offensive targeting a thing where if an offensive ball carrier lowers the level of contact and drops the head, I'm good with that too. But see, the thing is, even if the offensive player lowers down, drops the head, lowers down, lowers the level of contact, but comes in face mask up, and the defender does not, that's still defensive targeting. If you lead with the face mask, it won't be a targeting. It's really the discussion. All right, we got to talk some World Series and more when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, one more live and we're back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you. Country roads take me home to the place.
If you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898. Social Latitude Playground and Pub.
Just saw Seth Rollins tweet, "I hate football, my God." He was at the Chicago game.
Yeah, he was losing his mind too. It was, and I couldn't tell if it was like he was genuinely blown away by the catch, or if he was like temper tantruming as a Bears fan.
It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppable bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppable, you just toss, watch, wow, from all day freshness.
From the Ingles Market Studio.
So we've talked a little Carolina Panthers during the show today. We'll stick with it for just a minute. Stumbled across this clip from Todd McShay, NFL analyst, has been with ESPN and a number of other organizations. McShay was talking about the fact that Shedeur Sanders is likely to head to the NFL draft this year. And despite a victory for the Cleveland Browns yesterday, McShay believes, as many of us do, that there are 2 possible teams to be at the number 1 overall selection when draft day rolls around next year. And McShay says he believes that Shedeur Sanders will not end up being selected by either of those 2 teams.
You think for a second that Prime is going to allow his son to go to Cleveland or to Carolina? I think it is a legitimate conversation.
Yeah, you can't ignore it. I just don't know how. I honestly
if the
have thought
Mannings
about
can
this.
do it, and like Elway, and like it will be done. I'm convinced of it. It will be done. And so I think you take for Shedeur, you take Cleveland out. Honest to God, I think Carolina would want to take Shedeur. I don't think it will be allowed. I tell you this thing: if I had any power, and Tate McShay, my son, was as talented as Shedeur, and unfortunately for my son, he's coming from my gene pool, so that's just not in the cards, bud. But But if there's one place I would not want him to go, simply because of ownership, not of the individuals there, not the coaching staff, not the personnel department, simply because of ownership and what has gone on there with every other quarterback that's gone into that abyss, that's the last place I would want him to go.
You know what what I got to think the worst part about being a Panther fan is right now? And again, I am not a Panther fan, but as I've told you many times, I have a rooting interest in this team not stinking, because if this team would not stink, I would make more money. Okay? If this team was good, there'd be remotes, and there'd be more folks that want to advertise around the Carolina Panthers. And as Odyssey is the home of Carolina Panther football here in the upstate, if this team was good, I would be in a much better position. So I want them to be good, if for the most selfish reason of all, because I like money quite a bit. However, you are in a point right now where the Carolina Panthers are like constantly utilized as the illustration of bad things in the league. Played a clip. I don't even remember what it was at this point because there's been so many of them. But I played a clip either Thursday or Friday of last week where, God, who was it? It was kind of a similar situation where somebody was talking about like an issue that is a league-wide issue, and then they utilize the Panthers as the illustration of what's wrong, of the situation itself. And it's not unusual anymore. It's just like that's just the thing now. If there's a bad thing that has to be discussed about, you must utilize the Panthers as the illustration of the thing being bad. So basically, McShay says, ain't no way Prime's letting Shedeur go to Carolina. And I would like to say that, yeah, that's not how the draft works, right? It's not how the draft works. But
it is how it works for some people.
That's exactly how it works.
For John Elway, for the Mannings,
yep.
for a select few, but still, we've seen it happen.
Yep. Now, I do think that you kind of have to be like football royalty to pull this off, right? Like you got to be football royalty to pull this off. You can only do it if you're the number one overall pick, it feels like, or if you are, kin to an all-timer, to a Hall of Famer. Like that's it. That's the only way that you can get this pulled off. I'd say Prime meets the qualifications, right? I think it meets the qualifications. I think if this is going to happen, Deion Sanders is absolutely the guy that has the weight to say, yeah, no, my kid's not playing for you. I don't like it. So that we're clear. I don't like it. But this is how bad your team is. Despite the fact that I don't like it, that I think if you are drafted by a team, you should be obligated to play for that team, or at least that team should be able to. I think the rules should be very simple. If you get drafted by a team, you are a member of that team for 4 years. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's just the way the league works. And I think you collectively bargain that into existence. The only people who would hate that rule are rookies, and they don't have a vote in this because, they're not in the league yet. I think you find a way to collectively bargain that if your rights are drafted by a team, you're on that team for 4 years. After 4 years, you can get the hell up out of there ASAP if you want to. And if you decide, yeah, I'm not playing for that team, cool. You sit on the couch for 4 hours, for 4 seasons. You sit on the couch and don't get better for 4 years, and then you can come back in year 5 and play anybody, play anywhere for anybody that wants to take the risk. But I think it is telling when Todd McShay, a voice in the NFL media sphere, says, yeah, I wouldn't let my kid play there. But there is another side to this argument. And we've talked about this, and I've brought it up a number of times. You heard David Tepper at the press conference in which Dave Canales and Dan Morgan were introduced as the head coach and the general manager, respectively. David Tepper was asked by Sheena Quick, hey, Dave, can you? And, can you tell us? Can you talk to us? How do you feel? How do you this? How do you that? Whatever. And Tepper said in that moment, I'm going to take a step backwards here. I'm going to let my guys do their thing. I don't want to be a voice. I'm going to hang in the background. Things are going very poorly for the Carolina Panthers right now because not only are they not winning football games, they are one of the most banged up teams in the league right now. They have injuries that have hampered the season everywhere on the football field. And with a couple of exceptions here and there, with just a couple of exceptions here and there, it ain't exactly like the team is getting better, right? Like, if I asked you right now, great one, to tell me a spot that you think the Panthers are better in week 9 than they were back in week 1, what would you get? I'd say Xavier Legette is developing nicely.
Yeah, I still would go with punter because he's had plenty of practice and, improving every week. The more his leg getting strong.
Old Johnny Hecker, friend of the show. Really, like that's.
I'm not joking, by the way. He's getting a lot. It's getting a lot of playing time.
Yeah,
right now.
I don't know that I can. I don't know that I can give you more than 2 or 3. I think Legette's getting better. I think there are an individual player here and there that's improving a little bit, but it ain't like the team's getting better. And with all of that being said, this is a genuine question. When's the last time you heard David Tepper? Have you seen Tep this season? I got to tell you, Zoe, I don't think, at least since we started week 1, I haven't really seen nor heard from David Tepper. And I'll keep it a buck. As far as covering the NFL goes, the Panthers are going to be irrelevant until draft season, when they will have one of the top 2 or 3 picks in the NFL draft. You're irrelevant right now to the NFL as a whole. But even in your irrelevance, it is still my job to be up to date on what is happening, to be able to say, this is what Canales said, and this is what Dan Morgan said, and here's what I think, blah, 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 whatever. And over the last couple of years, that largely would have been, and here's what David Tepper said. I have not heard hide nor hair, as the old expression goes, out of David Tepper this season. So my question mark is...
Do you want to, though?
No.
I mean, it might add a little more excitement to an otherwise horrible season. At least you could be able to dog Tepper a little bit.
But here's the thing. This, unlike Jerry Jones, this I appreciate. The league at large, and all those who talk about it, including Tom McShay in that clip right there, the league at large has decided the organizational failure of the Carolina Panthers has been a David Tepper problem. And I'm not saying Tep's not still locked up in his James Bond villain tower somewhere pulling the strings, but just being smarter about knocking, not talking about it. I have said for years, the biggest part of the problem with politicians is that the next one got to learn from the mistakes of the last one. So they get to get away with the same stuff because they go, okay, the mistake this guy made was he did this over here, and we're gonna not do that. We're gonna misdirect. It's possible Dave Tepper's still up there pulling the strings. Nicole Tepper is still drawing up plays she wants Dave Canales to run on the back of a coaster at a bar somewhere. But we ain't heard from him. He doesn't appear, from the outside looking in, he doesn't appear to be doing that. He's not out giving press conferences. He's not calling in to our brother station WFNZ in Charlotte and saying, well, this was all your fault, media. It's these narratives that you're running out there. He's not doing that. So at least I got to give him credit for that. But when your team is consistently used as the illustration for bad things in the NFL, that stings, dude. It stings. Hey, when we come back, 8 o'clock straight up, we got the Audio Blitz, 8:20. We'll talk some World Series. The Dodge is up 2-0 on the Yanks, but we are headed back to the Bronx for 3. We'll break that down and more after Lonzo blows your minds with this Sports Flash.
I don't know why Rob always talks about the thing that I'm going to talk about right before I talk about the New York Yankees will try to start a rally this evening at home in Game 3 of the World Series after falling in a 2-0 series hole to the LA Dodgers. First pitch of the contest is at 8:08 with Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani expected to play despite a shoulder injury sustained while still in the base in Game 2. The newest AP poll has dropped with the Oregon Ducks holding on to the number 1 position, followed by Georgia at number 2. Penn State stays at 3. Ohio State stays at 4. And Miami moves into the top 5 for the first time this year. Texas, Tennessee, Notre Dame, BYU, and Texas A&M round out the top 10. Hey, tune in this Saturday at noon as the Furman Paladins take on the VMI Keydets. It's Furman versus VMI right here on your home for Paladins football. The Fan, Upstate. Keydets. No, man, Keydets is just fun to say.
How did the Keydets get brought up?
Because Furman is playing them this weekend. If it was a church, I said Keydets.
The Keydets.
Thank you, Wesley. I've been practicing like the Carolina Panthers punter. It took me an hour to edit that interview. And I meant to send it to you because you could have just cut off the beginning and end because that's the only places where Pulse was mentioned. But I had to cut out a couple of things at the end just because it was too long. He was wearing a different mask too. It was weird. I didn't get a picture of it. Yeah, he did.
Did he like full or just the mask? Like
It was yeah.
Yeah, but was he in like the full costume or was he like in a suit and tie?
I'm pretty sure he was in the full costume. And Odie said, Eric Roberts is looks really old because he is. He's like in his 60s, dude. It is. I mean, I think a lot of times you picture what someone looked like, a decade ago and think they're going to look like that if you haven't seen them in a movie or anything in a while. Like, he looks like someone's grandpa. It's like probably because he probably is someone's grandpa.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks for the best sandwich orders. And it all starts with
HOTTO.
Yes, Steven. My suggestion is don't do it, but Rob liked it.
I loved them, Steven. I thought it was delicious.
He's just talking about the Coke. He's not talking about the Oreo.
No, the Coke was gross, actually.
Oh, okay. I knew you loved.
The Coke was gross. The cookies were freaking delightful. I ate Lonzo's whole pack of Oreo cookies.
I didn't like either one.
Oh, the Coke was gross. The Coke, I can see the direction it was going in, and there was a ton of potential there, but I feel like they just missed. The cookies I thought were spectacular. Yes, it did taste like a flat Coke. You're exactly right.
New Life, first break.
10-4.
I tried the chicken Big Mac yesterday.
Oh, how was that?
It's like two McChickens.
And off we go into hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob, the great one, Lonzo, and you be a part of the show. The Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone is open for you at 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. You may shoot us a text on the text line at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. You can also tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet the great one, Lonzo, at Lonzo on Word. You can get it, everybody up in the building, at The Fan Upstate. 8 o'clock in the morning, we do the Audio Blitz, our favorite audio that we have collected over the past 24, 48, 36, 72 hours, however long it's been since we last spoketh with you. The Indianapolis Colts were a team that a lot of people had selected to make it to the playoffs out of the AFC South this year. And thought with young quarterback Anthony Richardson that they might be able to outduel the Houston Texans in order to make it there. Well, yesterday they did have a bit of a dueling for a while there. It looked like the Indianapolis Colts might have a little something for C.J. Stroud and the Horned Ones. Well, they did. 23-20. Houston, 6-2. Leaders of the AFC South now. Anthony Richardson had a real not good day. Started the game 2 of 15. Now, remember, Anthony Richardson returning from an injury not terribly long ago. Little ring rust on him is what it looked like. Third quarter, in a shootout, Anthony Richardson checks out of the game. Everybody's like, yo, what? Huh? Where'd he go? Well, after the game, Anthony Richardson was asked about that in the postgame presser, and here is the answer that he gave.
Man, tired. I ain't gonna lie. That was a lot of running right there, what I did, and I don't think I was gonna be able to go that next play. So I just, this whole saying I just needed a break right there.
Well, that's not a good look at all. Richardson says, I was tired. I had done a lot of running, and I didn't think I was going to be able to play the next play. So I told Shane Steichen, the head coach, that I needed a little bit of a break. He flat out just checked out of the game. No, Lonzo, no. See, much like Anthony Richardson, you're getting paid $27 million a year to do this job. You don't get to take a break. You don't get to just check out.
Give me a minute. I need a moment, okay?
All right, fine. Lonzo needs a break. He'll be back. Listen, when you get paid that much money, you get to do things like take a break. Bobby Hurley is the head coach of the Arizona State Sun Devil basketball program. A lot of the college basketball programs this year were having closed-door exhibitions against other programs. Arizona State did that. They took on the Duke Blue Devils in a behind closed doors exhibition, which Duke won by 60-ish points. Bobby Hurley sat down to the mic. They said, yo, coach, winning is one thing. Getting it handed to you like this is another. And here's what Bobby Hurley said about his team and the exhibition.
But this happened, though. It's not like I didn't come out and play the guys that should have been on the floor. Like, I wasn't like experimenting tonight, and like this just happened to us. So we got our ass kicked, and it was with them, having, arguably their All-American and best player just playing like half the game too. Because so hats off to where they are and about where we are right now.
Hats off to where they are, and to where we are. That's my favorite clip of the day. And there's some bangers in this one. That's my favorite clip of the day. Hats off to where they are, and to where we are. Well done. Well done, Bobby Hurley. You gotta feel real good about where you are when the only thing the head coach says is, spectacular. Just spectacular. All right. Let's get to another one. Wes, can you do the audio blitz without a Rob Gronkowski story? No. Wes Walker told one.
He's one of the founding fathers of tight end U. For me, it's Rob Gronkowski, and there's a story. Every Friday practice, we used to have this thing called goal line 7-on-7. Gronk would go out and score 10 touchdowns in 10 plays every time. He'd go out one time, his second year in the league, and our practices are like really serious. Rob goes out, scores, dunks the ball, and then pulls out the easy button because of Staples and starts going. You see Randy Moss like in awe, and Bill didn't say anything because he was so productive and so dominant.
How about
Can I
that?
see it?
Wow.
What did you do? Can you reenact it?
A touchdown. That was easy.
So apparently, in practice for the Patriots, which were the most button-up, stiffy, suit and tie team in the history of the league, apparently Gronk scored a tutty in practice, pulled an easy button, the old easy button, the little red. So I think actually doesn't. I think the boss has got one on the desk. As a matter of fact, the easy button
doesn't work.
Neither did Gronk's apparently. Pulls the button out of the pants that he was hiding it in, I assume. Looks at the defense and goes,
a touchdown. That was easy.
Incredible. That I don't know why it is that this is the year of the Gronk, but I'm all in for it. I find it hilarious. All right. He's just a simple man having himself a wonderful year. I hate all you want. Guy's living his best life.
That was a legitimate impersonation. That was not.
It's pretty good. He does that high pitched laugh. It's so good. That
would be the stoner laugh, Rob.
I'm a big Michelle Beadle fan. Have been for many years. Now she is the co-host of Beadle and Decker alongside my dear friend and co-host on Saturdays, Cody Decker. This was on Friday's show. Michelle Beadle was asked about the Bronny thing. Remember they played their first game together on Tuesday night? And Michelle says, well, I'll let her tell you in her own words.
There was a large and loud contingent of people when Russell Westbrook was chasing the triple-double record, and it was sort of stat padding towards the end. And they were like, this is fake history. This is manufactured history. Russell Westbrook made it to the league on his own and did all that by himself. If this isn't manufactured, then I don't know what the word manufactured means. But again, I am not impressed, and I thought this was so ridiculous.
So Michelle says the Bronny story was manufactured and so ridiculous. And I do want to say, and I had this conversation with Cody Decker on Saturday on our show, so why not bring it again? It's not like it's a dated story or anything. Is it manufactured? Sure it is.
All right, what does that mean?
However,
what does it mean manufactured?
Manufactured in this case would be for the sake of creating a spectacle, for the sake of creating history, they did something that they would not otherwise do. They went out of their way. The argument from somebody like Michelle Beadle is they, in a regular world, would not have drafted Bronny James. But also remember, it's not just that, because you and I have had that conversation before. He was a fringe draft pick. They drafted him on the fringe. It makes sense. However, the other side of the equation that she threw in there, and I couldn't fit it in the clip because she went on for a minute about it, was the fact that Rich Paul, LeBron James's agent, was calling other teams saying, do not draft this kid. If you draft this guy, you will not draft anymore. You will not have any more Clutch Sports, which is the name of his agency. You will not have any more Clutch Sports NBA players playing for you. Now, it never got proven those phone calls were being made, but you had a lot of people saying that they were, that were in direct connection.
And you know what? If they were, I don't have a problem with it because I'm sure he's not the only one who does that. In every sport, I'm sure that kind of thing goes on. It's just not made as public as this because it's about LeBron.
Listen, I have no doubt that at some point in time, Drew Rosenhaus was like, yo, you're not signing my guy. And if you try to sign my guy, right?
We know that guy's doing that
for sure. I get it, which is part of the reason I don't have any issue. But this is the argument I made to Cody Decker. This is the argument I'd make to Michelle Beadle. And they weren't the only ones that had this take. There were plenty of people on social media this weekend that were having the thing. As I pointed out last week, in order for this to happen, LeBron James has got to play 20 plus years in the NBA basketball. This man has logged more minutes than any player in the history of the league. Not only does LeBron James have to stay in the league for 20 plus years, he's got to be dynamic enough that the Lakers have to be willing to manufacture the situation to keep him happy. Number 3, he's got to have a son 20 years ago that he then grows up in the basketball culture that is capable of making it here. Number 4, that kid's got to go to a high-level university to shape his game up a little bit. Number 5, and sorry to be morbid, he has to not die from what was effectively a heart attack that could have killed him. Number 6, he's got to be a fringe NBA player. Number 7, he's got to be good enough that the Lakers can draft him and justify it. And number 8, good enough that they can put him on the active roster and justify it. Now, I don't think Bronny's spending the whole year on the roster. I think Bronny's getting sent down to G League at some point. But is it manufactured? Yes. Fine. It was manufactured. You're right. The Lakers took a guy that if it wasn't LeBron's kid, they wouldn't have drafted. Even if that is true, let's say it is for the sake of the discussion. All those other things still had to happen too. LeBron had to be not just a 20-plus year vet, but a 20-plus year vet who was good enough that he could make the Lakers manufacture this and justify. Because if he's not LeBron, if he's Al Horford, right? Let's say this is Al Horford and Al Horford Jr. You think Al Horford's got the sway with the Boston Celtics to go, if you don't draft my kid, I'm out? No, they'd be like, all right, dog. Like, thanks for the memories. Thanks for the memories. They'd Fall Out Boy. Thanks for the memories. Bye-bye. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Bye-bye. Right? LeBron's got to be able to be good enough to still have that sway that the Lakers go, yeah, we don't really want to make this pick, but we do want to keep LeBron James happy. And they did that. Even if all that is true, it's still pretty ridiculous. It's still pretty ridiculous. You know what else is ridiculous? Jaden Daniels. The walk-off Hail Mary. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the reason that Rob Brown re-downloaded Duolingo.
Aguanta Daniels, no tiene con quién. Ahora sí Daniels a lanzar a lo profundo del terreno de juego. Ahí está la recepción, touchdown, touchdown de Washington, touchdown, está adentro. Touchdown, Commanders. El Ave María funcionó. Apareció el 85. Tras un rebote, Noah Brown se convierte en el héroe de todo Washington DC.
It's worth waiting for the end.
Grande Commanders. Buen trabajo ahí por parte de Jaden Daniels. Aguantar todo el tiempo. Era un Ave María. El pase llega y es atrapado por Noah Brown. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Hey, hey, goodbye. Buenas noches, Chicago.
Buenas noches, Chicago! I want you to know I took a number of things away. Number 1, there is no point from this point forward when a Hail Mary gets launched that I'm not going to go, Ave Maria! At the top of my lungs. I don't care where I am. I'll be in the middle of the most crowded bar in Greenville, South Carolina, and I'm screaming Ave Maria. Because that's how you say Hail Mary in touchdown. In touchdown. It is if you speak Jaden Daniels. In Spanish, Hail Mary is Ave Maria, which is now what I yell at the end of games when there is an Ave Maria to the end zone. That's spectacular. Number 2, I will listen to any play-by-play guy that in that moment thinks, I'm going to go ahead and drop a na, hey, goodbye on the bad guys. Spectacular. Number 3. Touchdown, Commanders. That's not electrified. That didn't get you jazzed. That didn't get you juiced. That didn't get the blood pumping a little bit, because it did for me. Number 4. Buenos noches, Chicago. I don't know what to tell you. That was amazing. That was just absolutely freaking spectacular. You know what's not spectacular? Listen to this. Me just stringing these clips together. I am a professional. The Jets lost to the Patriots. They're bad at football, right? Mike Francesca?
Bill Parcells used to say to me, my kicker doesn't kick 80% of his field goals. He's somebody else's kicker. Zuerlein has to be somebody else's kicker or nobody's kicker. Get rid of him. How many games can he lose in 1 year? Extra points, field goals. I mean, how many can they? And then how can they not get a play in on the whole time they're coming down the field? You know, if you score, you need a 2-point play. You're going to be up 5. And you get a delay of game. How is that possible? What are you guys doing on the sideline? Everything the Jets touches turns to garbage. Complete and utter garbage. I never thought they could top some of the stuff they've done in the past. But you know what? Today was as low could possibly be.
Check on your Jets friends. They're not well.
So did you leave those pauses in there on purpose to see if we can hear the little electric shock that the producer uses to wake him up every time he falls asleep?
I
thought he retired again.
This is a podcast. He's not on the radio anymore. He used to be on WFAN New York, which is the big stick in New York City. He stepped away from radio a few years ago, but he still does the Mike Francesca podcast. And I will tell you, I'm not a Francesca guy at all for 2 reasons. Number 1, he pretty much exclusively does New York sports, which there are times when New York sports enter the sphere which I inhabit, right? The whole saga of Aaron Rodgers, obviously, as an NFL fan, it's going to be around. There's nothing you can do about it. I think the Knicks are going to be really good this year with Big Cat joining the race. So there are times when the Francesca sphere bleeds into mine. But I'm not a big Francesca guy. I felt that because I watched him do this clip. And, you know, a lot of these clips we play where Lonzo says, it's a work. It's just audio, right? It's just audio. I'm watching Mike. When Mike yelled there in the beginning of that clip, so from an HD webcam, you could see the vein popping on the forehead.
Well, did you hear me say that dude's just angry all the time. That's an angry old man. That's exactly what that is.
A little bit. You're not wrong.
Yeah, and he's been an angry old man for like 30 years.
Yeah, well, Aaron Rodgers has made him angrier. All right, last one we're going to play for you. Mainly, I have been saving this for a while. You all know about our dear friend Xavier Legette.
That'll be great, man.
And his mild accent.
That'll be great, man.
We're big fans. Special teams coach for the Carolina Panthers, Tracy Smith, was asked on a podcast about XL's accent.
Because I know y'all going to ask. You Xavier Legette. I got one thing for you. Yes. Sometimes even I can't understand this.
Yeah.
We in the meeting, bro. I do the rookie meetings after practice all the time. So I'm in the meeting. We watching film. We talking about something. He asked me a question, bro. Like usually I can understand it most of the time. This one, he got me this time.
Yeah.
He asked me, hey, coach, something, bro. I just did this. What? What? Hey, my bad, bro. Hey, slow it down. This time you got to slow it down.
Special teams coach Tracy Smith says, yeah, I can't understand him either. And Tracy Smith's got a little bit of the country accent to him too, all right? You can hear it in there. He got just a little bit of that. He got that Mullins accent in him too. But he says, sometimes I got to look at Xavier Legette and go, What? Slow it down, big fella. Slow it down. That's fantastic. I love this dude. Oh, and by the way, if he's going to go out there and get me a couple of tutties a game, and my man rode Dollar Bill 50 yards down the sideline to celebrate with the boys. Xavier Legette guy. Let's talk some World Series baseball when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
You like?
All right, guys, one more live. Stay right there, and we're coming back. Don't go anywhere.
WORD Weather Center. Here's the Carolinas' most trusted forecast on the Fan Upstate. Mainly cloudy today, high of 66 tonight. We'll see gradual clearing and cool to low near 52. Lots of sunshine on Tuesday
Off against the Giants, who stumbled in their last two. The model is all in on the Steelers staying hot on Monday Night Football. Steelers -6 is a 3-star best bet. Hashtag Team Huevos. Bet smarter and beat the most.
Oh, I can just add my own. Okay.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game,
Calm it down, Brown.
I was talking about.
Something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings. Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is now open. Voted one of America's top haunts and #1 in South Carolina. Mad World is much more than just a haunted house. It's a
I'm sure Rob did, Mac, because he's the most optimistic about Bryce Young, even more so than Bryce's family, probably.
Enjoy our food, bonfire, roaming characters, 3D photos, gift shop, and fun for the whole family. Still too faint of heart? Grab one of our No Scare medallions to pray.
Come on, that's not a good comparison, James. It's not. You do realize who they were playing, right?
The legend of Bo Nix grows.
It was just Denver, guys. I mean, you know.
We've all been reminded lately that family and home are most important. So when it comes to things like window replacement, use a trusted source like locally owned American-made windows. Don and Pam Brockland live and work here, so you can feel confident that they'll do what they say, when they say, as affordably as possible. Visit amwupstate.com or call 864.
So this time next week, it'll be 9:27, right?
Does it flip this weekend?
Or will it be 7:27? Yes, it flips this weekend.
Every time. Like those socks that smell like
We fall back an hour, right?
Yes.
or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles. Maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, bounce dryer sheets can't.
So it'll be 7:27. Yeah, no. Right.
Your coworkers might annoy you, but we promise we won't. Download the free Odyssey app and you can listen to us at work while you
It's the only way you really get an extra. Well, no. You lose an hour, don't you? I don't know.
and with Chapters, easily jump to the topics that you care about most, like the latest updates from your team. Your sports talk, your way. The Odyssey app. Download it today.
Today, expect a high of 66 with mostly cloudy skies.
I'm not sleeping well, so it's not going to matter.
Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today. Sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast Burrito. The Wendy's Breakfast Burrito is everything you want for breakfast. Fresh cracked eggs.
I wake up every hour or so with a machete sticking out of my knee. That's what it feels like. Could be a war axe.
Hey,
I don't
you
know.
should say with what feels like a machete sticking out of my knee, not that you have one.
I had a dream that my key wouldn't work to get in the building, but Chris's would. So he went in the building, but I wasn't allowed in the building because my key wouldn't work. So I had to stay outside and work. Everyone kept coming up and interrupting me while I was trying to work. And nothing worked. All my dreams about work is things not working.
So nightmares.
Big time.
The Dodgers up 2-0. on the New York Yankees after the first two out in Los Angeles, California, go the direction of the team in the light blue, I guess in this case. All right. Couple things.
So, quick question before you get to this. So what are you watching tonight? If you're a baseball fan and a football
World
fan?
Series. World Series. And I'll tell you why. Because I am a football guy. Number one, it's the Giants. Do you feel? Sorry, Chris Lewis. You know I love you like a brother. Do you think for a second that if you miss the Giants, you're missing anything at all? Because I don't.
Who are the Giants playing?
The Steelers of Pittsburgh. So there is, and I had this conversation with Cody Decker on Saturday. There is some interest there from the Steelers' perspective because, as I said last week, I think Russell Wilson's just fine as a starting quarterback. But there is also the question about the drama of, all right, was Russell Wilson good last week, as is very possible that he was, because he was the freshest guy on the football field and because there was no tape? Is Russell Wilson good because the Jets actually suck with a capital S?
It could be it.
I think that's got a lot to do with it. There's any number of possible reasons.
Giants a step down or a step up
from the Jets?
Yeah.
I think they're just a step away.
Okay.
Right? They're like
So
right
they're
there.
Jets adjacent.
They're Jets. That's fine. They're Jets adjacent. Yes, I'm good with that. Now, remember the Giants last week pulled Danny Dimes out of the game, and then immediately in the postgame we're like, no, he's still our guy. We just wanted to see if we could spark the offense. Okay. Sure. I guess we'll see. What I would say is this. I think that the interesting story here is, number one, is Russell Wilson good? Was Russell Wilson the freshest player, and so he was just able to outrun everybody, and now that there's a little wear on the 2024 tires, he'll look a little different? Was Russell Wilson good because the Jets stink, and does he keep that job? But there's a second conversation that I think has to be had here. Great one. And that second conversation is the trade deadline is just around the corner. The NFL's trade deadline is November 5th. That is next Tuesday. Okay. And NFL teams will have to elect who they want to move on from. See what I did there? Because it's election day.
I think it's also the day that the CFP happens. So there's a lot of things happening on the 5th.
Next Wednesday's show is going to be lit with a capital L. Here's why I bring that up. Because the Pittsburgh Steelers have two quarterbacks on the roster, one of whom was carrying a winning record into a week ago. And then he was benched for another one who came out and won a game. If Russell Wilson wins this game tonight, and I'm banking that he will, if Russell Wilson wins this game this evening, Russell Wilson's 2-0. If Russell Wilson goes 2-0 and he performs like he actually plays well in this game this evening, Russell Wilson becomes a tradable commodity. If Russell Wilson's a tradable commodity, but he's 2-0 and he performs well in back-to-back games, and the Pittsburgh Steelers get a phone call from someone saying, hey, we feel like we're a quarterback away, right? We feel like we just need a guy. We feel like we are a QB away from being good. We, Pittsburgh, would like to send you a whatever, third-round draft pick and a player to make something happen here. If you're the Steelers, which one of those guys are you sending away? Now, the answer to me is obvious. Russell Wilson. I'm sending away the nearly 40-year-old guy, even if he's 2-0 and is balling out. And I'm keeping keeping Justin Fields. And I'm keeping Justin Fields because Russell Wilson may very well be the present, but Justin Fields is the future. And while I do subscribe to the philosophy that you live in the present if you're good. The reality is the Steelers aren't Super Bowl good today. They could be. They could be soon, but they're not Super Bowl good today. If this was a Super Bowl good today team, then I'd go, hey, you know what? I'm just keeping both of them. I'm not making a trade, right? Even if that trade could get me the finishing piece, I'll keep them both. I'll let Russell Wilson run me to a Super Bowl this year and Justin Fields do it next year. But they're not Super Bowl ready yet. So I would be willing, if he comes out tonight and he wins the game, I'd be willing to ship Russell Wilson out of town for a couple of good picks or players and keep Justin Fields for the future. That's why this game has an interesting dynamic to it this evening. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. How old are you all being doing this for? William, Lonzo is 2 years older than me, and I turned 40 in February.
2 years. Yeah, I'm not 2 years. I wish I was only 2 years older than you.
But to answer your question, I've been at it for 17 years, not 10.
I am finishing up my 27th year. So, yeah, 24th year in this company. So, well, actually finishing up the 25th year in this company.
The Cordell and Cordell crash cam shows both north and southbound 85 and slow crawl.
Hugh Grant, when asked if he carries darker roles in his mind for a long time, said, "I killed 3 people this afternoon. I feel awful about that." Have you seen the previews for Heretic?
I have. I kind of want to see it. I'm not going to lie, in a weird way.
I saw the trailer when we went to see Venom, and I was like,
Venom.
I haven't seen that type of movie in a while.
Yeah.
I just figure there's a twist at the end. They're elevated to the next level of Mormon. That's what I think is going to happen. But
Uh-oh. Don't love that.
Page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users for scratch-made Asian cuisine. Visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's at AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the
I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the Sports Flash presented by Progressive. The Broncos beat the Panthers 28-7 on Sunday. Carolina.
Apparently that's wrong. I don't remember what the score was.
28-14.
Let's see if he says it on every one.
I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the Sports Flash presented by Progressive. NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Tyler Reddick over to Brian Blaney on Bell 4th and Chase Elliott 5th. Monday Night Football, the Steelers play host to that Justin Fields to the injury report. Pittsburgh's 1-2 in a row. The 5-3 rate is tonight. The Dodgers 7. The Dodgers took game 1 in the best of 7. The Dodgers and on Saturday. Bundle.
Sure thing. Save no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news.
I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the Sports Flash presented by Progressive. College football, the 6-1 Clemson Tigers this Saturday. The Furman Paladins through Texas A&M. The Bronco drops to 1-7. The Bronson, they finished with a pair of touchdown passes. Butt got picked off twice and sacked 2 times for a loss of 9. Young finished 24-30. Butt got picked off twice. Dalton, they finished with the starting quarterback in place of the end 1-7. The Broncos are 5. Broncos beat the Panthers 28-7 on Sunday.
Dodgers up 2 games to none on the New York Yankees. Game number 3 of the World Series is this evening. And yeah, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it in large part because this World Series so far has been electrifying. This postseason so far has been electrifying. Deck and I have had this conversation a couple of times on this show, on our show. This World Series is as of now just an extension of what this postseason playoff has been so far. That is really entertaining, man. Like really entertaining. There's nothing about this postseason that hasn't been phenomenal. We've had, as I've said on the show a couple of times, we've had the plucky underdogs. We have now competing for a World Series, the 2 big-time corporate teams, right? There's only one thing, I mean it, there's only one thing that has been wrong about this postseason. And that one thing that's been wrong about this postseason is that we have 2 corporations going at it. We did not get said plucky underdog in the World Series representing America as a whole. We don't have, if the Guardians would have made a run here, I think it would have been electric. But at the same time, and this is something that I have accepted over my years as a broadcaster, you don't have to like it, you do have to accept it. As much fun as it isn't, the reality is, and we can all say that it is not true, the reality here is that we, by and large, as Americans, we love tuning in to watch the big-time teams do big-time things. We love watching the teams that we love to hate, and we got 2 of them. We got 2 of them in this ride. We got 2 of them that are on board, and everybody's kind of picking their poison as far as which of these 2 teams they want to see lose. I mean, I'm going to keep it a buck. I right now am Team Dodgers, not because I like the Dodgers. I super don't. I am Team the Dodgers because of Freddie Freeman, because I am pulling for Freddie Freeman. Literally no other reason. All right.
So certified hater mode not activated.
Not for Freddie Freeman. No, I mean, listen, I don't have, like many people do, I don't really have an issue with the New York Yankees. All right. I don't think that, I think they're stuffy. I think they're boring. I think that they are like, I don't know, the no facial hair rule, I think they're antiquated, to be honest with you. I also don't think they're nearly as bad as a lot of people think that they are. I think they're structured. And I think a lot of us don't love structure. All right. Not in sports anyway. I certainly don't. I like unbuttoned. I like fun, whatever. The Yankees are remarkably structured. They have a way that they do things, and they're not going to change it no matter what. Doesn't matter how you feel about it or what year it is. They're going to operate the same way as they always have. But I think Aaron Judge is a stud. I think Giancarlo Stanton is a stud. I love Juan Soto. Love Juan Soto. I like Garrett Cole. If for no other reason, then he's hilarious.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Here's what this World Series I think is going to, or is effectively. The Dodgers are a better baseball team. Okay. 1-9 in the lineup. There is precisely one spot and only one spot where the only one spot where John Blau. There is only one spot where the Yankees are a better baseball team, and that's the starting pitching. And this is why I have a big problem with this series. The big problem that I have in this series is that I think the Yankees don't have a path to victory unless Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and Juan Soto do something miraculous, do something wizard. I think they all have to become the contemporary definition of a murderer's row. I think they have to become they all have to hit a home run a game. I think that's the only way they're going to be able to get through this. If they can't do that, they're cooked. All right, 8:45, just a couple of minutes late on this segment, but we are glad to have and grateful to John Blau of the Post-Courier for joining us here on the show to talk Clemson ball. John, off day, did you get some sleep? I mean, did you even take the pajamas off on Saturday, or was it a couch day like it was for the rest of us?
It was a couch day. To be perfectly honest, I had a dental procedure on Friday, so I might sound a little lispy because I have a retainer in my mouth. But I took some downtime, but it wasn't exactly the most pleasant.
I was going to say, that's a hell of a lot different than I sat on my couch drinking beer and eating popcorn. You know, I'm sorry to hear it, John, but I'm glad you came out the other end able to still, talk.
Yeah, I'm still able to get words out. They just sound a little goofy. But, bye weeks are my only opportunity to get this done. So I got it done. And, I sound weird saying the word weeks. I can't get that word out of my mouth. So let's try to avoid that one.
I want you to know, John.
Wow, you were heartless, Rob. I mean, you're having him on with this. Oh, man.
Well, I didn't know. All right, I'd have given him the option to take a day. I will tell you this, John Blau. Right after COVID, Rob Brown had a case of Bell's palsy that flared up, which I've never had before. Never happened again since then. I could not say the word S or the letter S because half of my mouth wouldn't work. So whenever we would talk sports radio, it was the way. You're fine, is what I'm saying here, but it could be worse.
Oh yeah, I'm not that insecure. I'm okay with it. We can labor on.
All right, John Blau from the Post-Courier joins us every single Monday to talk Clemson sports. Of course, Clemson on the bye this week, and that gave them the extra week to get ready, get set up as the Louisville Cardinals are next up on the schedule. Start with this one, John Blau. How does Dabo handle off weeks? What is the structure around this football team for the off week for Dabo Swinney?
Yeah, I mean, talks about playing against open in terms of, we're not playing against an opponent in particular on that Saturday, but we are, practicing against ourselves. We are playing or practicing to a standard to be competitive the next time we're on the football field. So I think it was a little bit of a gift that they had a couple games going into the bye week where they weren't perfect, where they, obviously defensively, a lot of the reserves giving up a lot of points at the end of games, some undisciplined moments, some penalties against Virginia. I think that actually helped because they could go back into practice and really try to hone in on those things and work on themselves because they know, everybody's talking about how front-loaded the schedule was coming into the year. It actually looks like it's more back-loaded with, Louisville, a pretty good football team. They can score a lot of points. Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, a couple of road trips that are not that easy. So I think they have a pretty good focus on themselves, knowing they have to kind of really improve to be able to finish off this ACC slate and try to get a spot in the playoff.
Yeah, it's interesting because it did feel with NC State up there, with Georgia up there, with Florida State up there in the preseason, it did feel like it was going to be front-loaded. But now, and you brought it up, you've got Louisville, but it's a trip to Virginia Tech. It is a trip to Pitt, who is a top 25 team. And then, of course, you wrap it up with South Carolina. And we'll find out if what's happening with Shane Beamer's Gamecocks is an illusion or if they haven't turned a corner. But that game may be a little bit more difficult than anticipated. Talk to me about the mentality of this team, making sure they stay dialed in. Sometimes teams can find a little something, start putting 40s, 50, 50s, 60 up on the scoreboard, and it might change the mentality of the team a little bit. How is this team staying centered and dialed in when all of the sudden the last 5 games look like they might be a little pop to them?
Yeah, I mean, Dabo Swinney said it himself that, last year they started 4-4. They had to win 5 straight games, have the quote-unquote, you like to talk about November to remember, to kind of finish that out. This year they have all their goals still in front of them. Obviously, they had that loss to Georgia, which wasn't great, but they still have they're undefeated in ACC play. They put themselves in position, but now you have to finish. You have to have another November to remember to kind of, attain your ultimate goals. I mean, I think Barrett Carter, the linebacker, was talking to us a couple weeks ago and was asked for his goals for the season. He said, "Hey, I didn't come back to go to a bowl game. Like, interpret that as you wish." But they want to go back to the playoff. And so obviously you put yourself in position, but you have to win these games. If you look at the ACC realistically as an outsider, I don't know if 2 ACC teams are going to make it into the playoffs. So you have to win. You have to get into that ACC title game, and you have to win that. So there's obviously a ton of urgency. I think they know they have to take care of business, or their ultimate goals might not be attained.
We were talking to John Blau from the Post and Courier. He covers the Clemson Tiger athletic department as the Tigers get set for a home game against Louisville coming up this weekend. If Louisville is a danger to Clemson, John Blau, what would you say they do well that Clemson needs to pay particular attention to?
Tyler Shuck, the quarterback. Obviously, we saw against Boston College they got behind, but I mean they can make some plays in the passing game in a hurry. This is another 25-year-old quarterback. I mean, they played Hank Bachmeier early in the year from Wake Forest. It's another 25-year-old signal caller, a lot of experience. Obviously, a guy that can really play with a lot of poise and a lot of anticipation and smart and knows where to put the football. So obviously the secondary has been pretty good, the first team secondary, but I mean the second and third string secondary and at times even the first string just giving up some big passing plays. They have to be disciplined. They can't have any busts because this is a Louisville offense that can score points. I mean, they put up 45 against Miami. They came back against Boston College. This is a team that can score a lot. They tend to be slow out of the gate, but they can make a comeback. They can rally. So Clemson's defense is going to have to play off full 4 quarters, which they haven't really done a lot of this season.
This team is scoring 42 points a game. That is good for 5th best in the country. And of course, you're always going to have the folks, John Blau, that are going to say, yeah, well, when you got Stanford and Florida State and Wake Forest on there, you should. But there's a lot of teams that have that schedule that are not putting up 42 points a game to date so far, especially with that big win over Wake Forest, putting 49 up on the board, et cetera. What would you say? And let's keep the optimism as high as you want here. What would you say would be the thing offensively for a team putting up 42 a game that you would want to see them dial in on, knowing that on the road at Virginia Tech, it's going to get loud, it's going to be raucous, you've got to be constant. What's the one thing you would think this offense needs to be working on, or you hope that they did during the bye week?
I think running the ball with some more consistency. I know Phil Maffa has had 4 games with 100-plus yards in his last 5, but there's been times where it's taken a little bit of time for them to really establish that. Obviously, you're hoping that Tyler Brown and Bryant Westbrook Jr. are available as well, so that kind of adds the explosiveness of your passing game. But, I mean, I think that the surest way to beat any team is to establish the ground game, to be able to take pressure off your quarterback, to kind of really wear down the opponent and take the crowd out of the game. I mean, if you run the ball on them and constantly picking up 4, 5, 6 yards, that can be demoralizing for an opposing team. So you bring that on the road and you kind of stay on schedule and you're consistently stringing drives together. It's going to be hard for opposing defenses, no matter where you're playing, to beat you. So I would think the run game is an area where they could improve a little bit. They can be a little more dominant. Obviously, they're still averaging about 200 yards per game in that phase, but there's just a little bit of an extra, that they could bring to that, I think, really take this offense to another gear.
John, last one. Do we have an update on the wide receiver core health? I mean, I know we're missing a couple of guys last week, but haven't really gotten, at least I've been able to tell, much in the way of updates as to availability of guys like Wesco. Do we have any?
We haven't talked to Dabo Sweeney yet this week. I mean, we'll talk to him tomorrow. But at the same time, he sounded pretty optimistic about both of them. Tyler Brown had a tightrope surgery, and so he related that to Tyler Davis, a defensive tackle they had a couple of years ago, had the same procedure. It took him a couple of weeks to get that. So obviously he's had 2 or 3 weeks now. So there's a chance he could be back. And then Bryant Wesco, I think there was a chance that if it was he needed to play in that game, the last game they played, I think maybe he could have. They were just kind of being cautious with him. So I would expect him back as well. I'd be surprised if either of those guys doesn't play against Louisville.
John Blau covers the Clemson Athletic Department for the Post and Courier. Kind enough to join us in this segment every single Monday. John, my man, go rest up. Take it easy, buddy. You got a long week ahead of you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll be fine, but I appreciate it. Thanks, bro.
I respect it. That's a man who slaps the play like a champion today sign and shows the hell up. John Blau from the Post and Courier. You can follow him on X at John_Blau, BLAU. You can also follow us into the next hour of radio after you follow along with Lonzo's Sports Flash.
Bryce Young returns as a starter for the Carolina Panthers, and it resulted in a 28-14 loss on the road to the Denver Broncos. Things remain the same. Young finished the day 24-37 with 2 interceptions and 2 touchdowns to Xavier Legette and rookie Jalen Coker. The Carolina Panthers play the Saints at home on Sunday. The newest AP poll has dropped, with the Oregon Ducks holding on to the number 1 position, followed by Georgia at number 2. Penn State stays at 3. Ohio State stays at 4. And Miami moves into the top 5 for the first time this year. Texas, Tennessee, Notre Dame, BYU, and Texas A&M round out the top 10. Tune in this Friday at 7 p.m. as the Burns Rebels head to Boiling Springs to take on the Bulldogs. It's Burns versus Boiling Springs right here on your home for Burns Rebels football. The Fan, Upstate. See brake lights. Sailor went to CCC to see what he could CCC.
And Team Dodgers, not because I like the Dodgers.
Stop.
Everybody's talking about this now. It's so cutting edge. The protocols developed by QC Kinetics are life-changing for so many people. Tens of thousands of satisfied patients with more every day. Yes, you can have real lasting relief from chronic joint pain without drugs, without surgery, and without downtime. Discover your options with advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. The consultation is absolutely free. Call 864-448-3772 in Greenville and in Nashville. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. QC Kinetics. Join Odyssey and the Salvation Army. Help provide aid to Hurricane Helene survivors. Your donation provides emergency aid, food, water, and long-term recovery. 100% goes to disaster relief in the Carolinas. Get help and hope today. Donate now at rebuildcarolinas.org. You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year.
Sorry about that. I know why the mistake was made, but a text that had me fixing something threw me off about where I was, and that's.
How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our.
I'm willing to suspend myself for the entire next hour.
No, you're good. My ability to do a show by myself does not indicate a desire
Fix it fast. To do so. Marketing. We can't stop the clock, but we can change the company's future.
Can you argue with yourself, though?
Oh, for sure.
Drive more revenue. Contact us.
I'm sure there's like a touch on mild schizophrenia.
So which voice usually wins? Is there a certain voice that's a little more down? No, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. It's hard to believe the high school football season is almost over. Actually, the regular season of college football is almost over. Something like that. Thank you, Mac. I love positive affirmation. Salvation Army, first break. Are we talking about this or not? Look at the TV screen. I mean, come on.
Yes, I was actually just coming to that.
It's so bad.
Just coming to that.
It's so bad. I thought it was fake at first.
So did I.
Yeah,
So did
it's
I.
like,
When I saw a picture of it, I'm like,
this ain't real.
you know, I'm an appreciator of art. Okay. I'm really excited. Just a couple of months away, there is a big Vincent van Gogh exhibition that's coming to Greenville. I've already got tickets for it. Very excited. You take me to a big city, 100% going to an art museum if it is available. I am an appreciator of art. However,
why were we lied to as children and told it was Vincent van Gogh?
that is a widely accepted English pronunciation of it. In Dutch, it's Van Gogh. It's really Van Gogh.
Yeah, the only
But
time
you
I
gotta do the
saw
phlegm.
it as Van Gogh was on a Doctor Who episode. I'm like, well, that's not right.
Yeah, Van Gogh. Well, as an appreciator of art, have we lost the ability to make sculptures now? Like, did something happen somewhere down the line? Because, you know, I've been to Paris before, okay? And I've been to the Louvre, which is arguably the most famous art museum in the world.
Can't believe he didn't use a snooty voice while doing both.
No need to be snooty.
Well, Paris and the Louvre, kind of snooty.
No, it's really not. It's just another city on the planet that anyone can go to. It turns out you don't have to have like $1 billion to get into Paris. It's just the city you can go to. And the Louvre is just a museum you can go to. You give them some money, you walk in the door, and you see an incredible collection of art and history. It's pretty spectacular. In fact, if you ever get the chance, I advise you to go. I've been to the Louvre, and one of the magnificent things about the Louvre is that it is filled with sculptures. Sculptures from the ancient Greeks and Romans, the ancient Egyptians, and some of them are mind-blowing in the amount of detail. There was one I remember. I can't remember the title of it. But there was one, Zoe, where it was from the ancient Romans. It was depicting a scene out of Greek mythology, and it's a man picking up a woman and carrying her away. And if you look up close at the sculpture, where his fingers are in her thigh, the artist actually carved an indentation into her skin. It looks as if it's fingers pushing into a thigh. It's unbelievable. There are some of them where the sculptors in the hands of their subjects actually carved the cuticles into marble. You can see the cuticles on fingernails of these sculptures. They're incredible. Which is why it is so gosh darn fascinating to me that we have completely lost the ability to capture humans in sculptures anymore. And if you're not on the stream, join us there right now. Because what you will see if you come there is the sculpture that is allegedly of Dwayne Wade from the Miami Heat that was unveiled outside of the Heat Arena over the weekend. And I am going to say, as a not art critic, because I will say this, as much as I appreciate art, enjoy art, go out of my way to see art, I also don't really have an eye for it, right? Now, I'm going to say this. Modern art is bull. Okay? You're not gonna throw a can of paint at a canvas and tell me that it's worth $1 billion. I believe that modern art is nothing more than money laundering. And for real. But fine art, classical art, I appreciate.
Art's very subjective. They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Art is definitely the proof of that, because what one person looks like goes, what in the world is that? Someone else may go, yeah, this speaks to me. You know, that sort of thing.
And I've been there, I've done that. Okay. I for instance, my favorite painting of all time is Van Gogh's Starry Night. I have it everywhere in my life. In fact, if you look at the wedding photos, the liner on the inside of my suit jacket is Van Gogh's Starry Night. It is my favorite painting. It from the perspective of both the artist and the subject, it is something that I see it and it evokes emotion, which is the point of art. Okay? Big art guy. What you're not going to do is paint a black stripe down the middle of a white canvas and go, doesn't this speak to you? Yeah, says to me, you're lazy as hell, painter. Says to me, you're a piece of crap, is what it says to me. All right?
It says to me, someone said, watch this, I'll
Yeah.
sell this. And,
I bet I
and
can
they
get some
did.
rich jackass to give me $1 billion for this. And they did. Y'all, I swear to you, I don't think there's, it's money laundering. All right? That's just all it is. Being a modern artist has got to be the easiest job in the world. How did you come up with this? Out loud, you say, I channeled my rage and my depression into the paintbrush, and I made sure that I would. In real life, he says, took a paint roller, put it in the black paint, and then I rolled it. And that's $1 billion. Cha-ching. Anyway, I have seen sculptures of people that are incredible. Here's what I'm going to say. Between this and the Cristiano Ronaldo sculpture, you remember the Ronaldo sculpture? Have you ever seen that one? Great one. If you haven't, do me a favor. Just run a quick Google search of Ronaldo sculpture.
I'm not going to. I've seen it before, but here's the problem, because I'm not into soccer. I could look at it and go, yeah, that looks like him to me. So in this case, I know Dwayne Wade. I've watched him for years. So this one I definitely get.
Cristiano Ronaldo is not only one of the most famous athletes on the planet.
Hey, don't be offended that if you walked
No,
in the room, I wouldn't know who
I'm
he
explaining
is.
it.
Okay.
Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the most famous people, not athletes, people on planet Earth. And objectively one of the most handsome. Cristiano Ronaldo is like, if he's like create a character, if the objective of the game was to be as sexy as possible and you were making a dude character, it'd be Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay? It just would. The sculpture they made up of Cristiano Ronaldo a few years ago makes it look like Cristiano Ronaldo got hit by a bus, but only in the face. All right? It's the most ridiculous thing. And now the Miami Heat rolled out this Dwayne Wade sculpture. It looks more like, who was it, Zoe? Was it Kyrie Irving a couple of years ago that had the old man character where he put on the old man makeup and he'd go to
Uncle
Rucker
Drew.
Park? Yeah, Uncle Drew.
Yeah.
It looks more like Uncle Drew than Dwayne Wade.
No. What this looks like, and people have put comparisons up, is Morpheus in the chair. When
That's
he's
a good one,
screaming.
too. Yep.
They put side by sides. It looks just like that.
That's a good one,
Here's
too.
the problem with this. This looks nothing like him at all. I mean,
Not at all.
Yeah, there's no part of this. I mean, maybe the body looks like him, but the head, none of it looks like him at all. And it's like, okay, if they brought that out and you didn't have the Miami jersey on it, who would you think it was? Dwayne Wade is not the person who comes to mind.
If his jersey didn't say Miami 3 on it, it was just a blank jersey, and you put this up and said, who's this basketball player? I'd get it wrong. That looks more like Ray Allen than Dwayne Wade. That looks more like Ray. That looks more like Bruce Bowen than it looks like Dwayne Wade. All right, it just looks like
Bruce Bowen's the one with the
bow tie.
Yeah. So
yeah. Also the third dirtiest player in the history of the game. Look, I don't know what this is. Here was my favorite part of it. There were two parts that jumped off the page at me when this video came across the timeline for me last night. So 2 parts. Number one, they did this whole presentation, and when it was time for the reveal of the statue, when it was time for the reveal of the statue, they blew out a bunch of smoke and they pulled back the 2 wall structures that were in front of the sculpture. And Dwayne Wade was the closest to it. And of course, the cameras were on D Wade as he saw not D Wade for the first time. And you could see the what the on his face. You could see it. He was like, for real? And then after his completely nothing reaction to the revelation of his statue of not him, he goes and he sits down while they're going to do the speeches about how much everybody loves Dwayne Wade. And there's a clip, great one. I don't know if you've seen it yet. There's a clip of him sitting next to his son. Okay? And he sits down next to his son. And the son's kind of like leaned over, like covering his face, right? And he looks back at Dwayne Wade. And Dwayne looks at him and like he's not like shaking his head because he can't, right? He can't outright express disapproval of this sculpture.
Well, he could.
Yeah, but it's kind of like when your grandmama gives you an ugly ass sweater for Christmas and your mom's like, you say thank you.
No, it's not like that at all. No, this is a statue that's supposed to look like you. Isn't there like someone who was consulted on this?
So
who said, hey guys, who is this? Because this is not Dwayne Wade.
They showed Dwayne and his kid who was just obviously trying not to laugh his ass off, turns around and looks at Dwayne Wade, and it gives him like the big open eyebrow expression. In that moment, 100%, I thought he called that shot. He's like, Dad, this thing ain't gonna look nothing like you. Nothing like you, Dad. And Dwayne looks at him with that nonverbal look of, bro.
Oh, so you think there was some side money on that?
No, I think his kid was like, Dad, you're gonna get Ronaldo'd. And because they're Dwayne Wade's a big soccer guy too. He looked, I bet his son was like, Dad, you're gonna get Ronaldo'd. Dwayne's like, nah, I'm Dwayne Wade. They're gonna do me right.
What if his son was the consultant on the sculpture?
There's no way. There's no way. Listen, I would not let this statue go up of Dwayne Wade if I hated Dwayne Wade. If I was the biggest D-Wade hater in the game, I still would not let this one go up. This is asinine, dude. It's ridiculous. It does not look at all like Dwayne Wade. When it came up on my timeline, the first tweet I came across had a photo of just the face, right? And it just said, the statue has been revealed or something like that. And it showed the face. And legitimately, I was like, who are the Heat doing a ceremony for today? Is that, it's not Ray Allen, but like it kind of looks like Ray Allen. Is it Ray Allen? Ray Allen was in Miami but for like a minute, right? Wasn't he with the Heat for a minute? Maybe it's Ray Allen. And then I scrolled to the next picture and it showed Dwayne Wade. And I still was like, oh, they brought Dwayne Wade out to honor whoever this is. That's nice. Immediately in my head, I'm like, this must be one of those like 1980s basketball players that I just don't remember, right? Like this has got to be one of those players that I just can't remember who it is. It's got to be. It can't be anybody else. And then I scrolled again and it's like, the tweet was, I think it was from Barstool, and it's like, we promise you are not ready for the Dwayne Wade statue reveal. And I was like, oh, they must be doing his next. They must have pulled this guy's out, and they're gonna do Dwayne's next. And then it showed Dwayne looking at the statue, and I'm like, get out of here.
You're more positive than me. I saw it this morning. I was like, man, he got. They messed it. It's just got to be one of those shows. I mean, because a lot of those shows are coming back where the prank shows. I just thought he got pranked. That's what I thought. And what a great prank that was. It would have been a better prank if they opened the statue and it was LeBron. But still, I mean, I don't know who that guy is, but it's got to be a prank. And it's not. It's real.
First off, if you're going to make a statue like that, don't you do like one of the iconic Dwayne Wade poses, right? The one I'm going with is the one after he threw the oop to Braun in that, you know the picture I'm talking about? That incredible, in fact, I know I did. I posted that picture last night. This picture right here. If you're not on the stream with us, join us on the stream, facebook.com/thefanupstate, the Fan Upstate on YouTube, the Rob Brown Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. I thought they'd go with this pose right here, right? Like that seems to be the pose that you would go with there. So the fact that they didn't, and they went with this pose is just mind-numbing to me. I saw that, and I'm like, first off, they put like the jawline they put on this guy makes it, you know that Chad meme on the internet? You know, trouble like with the big ripped guy, and he's got the gigantic jaw. It looks like that. This looks like an internet meme version of Dwayne Wade.
All right, so tap outs and touchdowns just sent us a tweet on X of a side by side with Antoine Walker And it looks more like Antoine Walker.
Okay, I'll go look at that immediately. I like genuinely, as soon as I saw it last night, I'm like, who the hell is that? Who are we honoring here? And I get it because
it also looks a little bit like Candyman, but I could be wrong.
I don't really know who else to say it looks like. This is a pretty good one. I wonder if the sculpture, did the sculptor know who Dwayne Wade is, or did he have someone describe Dwayne Wade to him and he just gave it his best shot?
It's artist perception, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe
we need to find out who the sculptor is and see if they've done any other famous people and how close they were on those sculptures. Does it say the sculptor's name?
This is like if the sculptor was going to make a statue of Bradley Cooper and then it looked like me. No, that's not Dwayne Wade. That's not Dwayne Wade. That's 100% Antoine Walker. Now that I look at it, that's 100% Antoine Walker. This was when I tell you that I saw this come across the social media last night, and I genuinely laughed out loud. Genuinely, literally.
Created by Rotblat Amrani Studio Sculptors.
Rotblat?
With 2 T's.
And Ronnie?
Amrani. Amrany.
I agree. I have to.
Omri Amrani and Oscar Leon were the sculptors. Well, it's got a thing on it. You got to go Leon.
All right. I'm looking at. Okay. All right. So they apparently, great one. They apparently did the infamous statue of Michael Jordan that's outside of the arena in Chicago, which is probably the most famous basketball sculpture of all time, and a good one. It's a site of pilgrimage, and it's a good one. How in the world did the people do that also did whatever the hell this is? They also, oh my God. Wait. It can be one-upped. Hang on. Everybody come to the stream and let's play one quick game of, what the hell is that? You ready? I'm going to put you a picture up on the screen without cheating. Lonzo, who's that? Quick. Who's that?
Herm Edwards.
Dude, that's Kobe Bryant. Allegedly.
I mean, that's what if he was still alive when he's 59 or something, maybe the hairline and the I don't know.
This is allegedly Kobe Bryant.
You know what though? You can see some Kobe in that.
No.
Yeah, you can.
No.
You can't see any Dwayne Wade in that. You can definitely see some Kobe in that.
I cannot see any Kobe in that.
Yeah, around the jawline and the mouth. For sure, I see it.
Bro, you know what I see there? What I see there is Kobe Bryant had Kobe Bryant starred in a horror movie about a basketball gym that was haunted by Kobe Bryant. That's what I see there. Now, at this point, I'm just going to keep it up so we can scroll around some of these other images that were created. This is Fergie Jenkins. How? Like, who are these people that they keep getting these jobs?
You don't know who Fergie Jenkins is.
I do. It was a Cubs guy. Ryan said this. All right, this is the closest I've seen so far of Rhino. This is Ryan Sandberg. This is the closest so far.
First glance for me, I thought it was Pete Rose.
I think that's kind of the point. Oh, here's the logo, Jerry West. This one's almost respectable, at least. That's respectable.
Yeah.
I can live at this point, I can live with respectable. See how we do on Mike Madonna's face. That's not bad. Hey, you know who that looks like? That doesn't look like Mike Madonna. That looks like
slap shots.
That looks like why can't I see that looks like dollar store Hulk Hogan.
No, it looks like Paul Newman.
How the hell are these people getting jobs? How are they still able? Oh, is this Harry Carey? Please tell me this is Harry Carey. It is.
All right, that looks like John Madden.
Yes.
That looks all right. I mean, that may be the closest one they've done, but it also looks like John Madden a little bit.
I'm not gonna tell you should come here to look at the Napoleon Dynamite sculpture that apparently they did. How do these people get these jobs? It's so bad we had to do a segment about it. Football when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Salvation Army.
You can bring help and hope to survivors of Hurricane Helene. Odyssey, South Carolina's family of radio stations has partnered with the Salvation Army to provide urgent disaster relief across the Carolinas. Donate today at rebuildcarolinas.org, and your gift will help provide emergency aid like food, water, hygiene kits, and long-term recovery support to the hardest hit communities. And here's the best part, 100% of your gift goes directly to disaster relief with no administrative fees. And if donations exceed the current needs, the extra funds will support future disaster services in our region. The Salvation Army has been on the ground since the hurricane hit, serving over 300,000 hot meals, 170,000 drinks, and distributing 35,000 shelf-stable meal kits along with essential supplies. They're focusing on the hardest to reach areas that need the most help. So donate today at rebuildcarolinas.org and help bring hope to those affected by Hurricane Helene. For the latest updates on relief efforts and more ways to help, keep listening or visit disaster.salvationarmyusa.org. And please remember to give at rebuildcarolinas.org. God.
Well,
2-1.
At least it wasn't a paid for spot.
I wasn't even trying to turn the mic off. I just legit reached out and hit it. Reach out and touch the button.
Right now, 55. Ingalls Markets is a proud sponsor of the Wire to Wire Sports Spin. From the playing field to the stands to your own living room, Ingalls Markets has everything you need to fuel your athlete or satisfy all the hungry fans in your life. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
Have you lost weight in the past but gained it all back and more? Hi, this is Dr. Elliot Hirschhorn with New Life Weight Loss, and we know the secret to losing weight and keeping it off long-term without drugs or surgery. New Life Weight Loss can help you lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two and keep it off without prepackaged meals, no exercising, no drugs or surgery. Go to mynewlifeweightloss.com now.
Hey, it's Rob Brown. My friends at New Life helped me drop 50 plus pounds and 12 inches off my waistline, not just by building me a weight loss plan that works for my chaotic life, but offering me a support system that, frankly, I needed. It's been great. Call them by the end of the month. Tell them I sent you $250 off the program.
To learn about our program, go to mynewlifeweightloss.com now to schedule your free consultation. Our expert team will discuss your health goals, help determine the root cause of your weight issues, and put you on a path to success. Call 864-719-2550. That's 864-719-2550 or mynewlifeweightloss.com. That's mynewlifeweightloss.com.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is now open. Voted one of America's top haunts and #1 in South Carolina. Mad World is much more than just a haunted house. It's a fall tradition like no other. Explore your way through the award-winning and elaborate haunted house and trail. Haunted house is not your thing? We have 18-hole mini golf, axe throwing, and carnival games. Enjoy.
You know, I think I'm more okay with a messed up painting. A sculpture, though, it's just so much worse. A painting, you can go, it was just, what I thought they looked like, but a sculpture, you mess that up, it's bad.
Give us 30 seconds, guys. back when NCAA football didn't yet have the rights? There was no NIL. So when you logged in, you played as Clemson quarterback number 2. And it was always a dude who would like very loosely resemble the person that was playing football, right? Like it'd be Clemson quarterback number 2. And it would be a guy who like vaguely looked like Cade Klubnik, far enough away that they couldn't be accused of using Cade Klubnik's, name, image, and likeness. They could put him in the game without putting him in the game. EA Sports, it's kind of in the game. This is exactly what that is. Good text. Texas said the Ronaldo sculpture fiasco ruined it for everyone. So here's my thing. Shouldn't it have gotten better after that? Like with the absolute controversy that they went through with that sculpture. In fact, I'll even, just for the lulls, I'm going to put that one up on the stream too, so you can see. I want you to see what we are talking about here. Just for the lulls, Lonzo, here's the sculpture of Ronaldo next to Ronaldo. All right? No.
That's not real.
No.
No.
I swear to you.
That's not real.
After he won the Ballon d'Or like the 73rd time or whatever for the best soccer player on the globe.
What was that award called again?
Ballon d'Or. It's the MVP of all of soccer. Just the sport as a whole. All right? They unveiled this statue of Cristiano Ronaldo. And it got so much backlash, they literally took it down, destroyed it, and put up a new one. That's how bad it was. Shouldn't it have gotten better after that? Like, shouldn't it have gotten better? If you are a sculptor and you are contracted to do a likeness of a beloved professional athlete, and you knew that this happened, and the reaction to this was a quite literal global phenomenon. I remember when this sculpture got unveiled because it was literally the only thing Twitter talked about for like 12 hours. It was just constant dunking on this statue, which made one of the most objectively handsome men in the world look like he got hit in the face with a brick.
So do they not understand that there's 3D imaging that you can do now, and that people do on video games and things like that, where they, take images of and then they turn it into
Look, I am fine because humans are naturally artists.
They had a 3D printer thing at Comic-Con Junior Sunday where you could have a miniature of yourself made, and they would 3D image your entire body, and then they would turn it into a 3-inch figure, 6, whatever you wanted.
I am fine.
Why are these guys not doing something like that?
Here's why. It is because even as someone who, not only do I think that AI and 3D printing is super cool. It's just cool. It's objectively cool. I have been tooling around with AI for the past couple of weeks because it's more accessible than ever. I have been tooling around with AI for the last couple of weeks, trying to come up with different angles that I could utilize it to enhance this show, to enhance my brand, to enhance the station's brand. And I think it's great. But as much as I love AI, when it comes to art, as much as I love 3D printing, when it comes to art, there is to me something inherently invaluable to human-made art, to something that comes.
I completely agree with you, because that comes from the soul and all this. But these statues are not should not be artists' perceptions of the athlete. They should be an exact depiction of that person, just like the busts in Hall of Fames. Just like it should be an exact duplicate of that person.
So here's where it comes from for me. there is something when you are going to pay homage to someone, there is something meaningful in having a master of their trade take the time and the energy and the effort to apply their mastery of that thing to dedicating that thing to you. There is something about a sculpture of a person you are paying homage to for their accomplishments, their achievements, whatever, and making them, in a way, immortal. You are immortalizing this person to some degree, right? And to have someone go through to take the time and apply their trade to make that, there's something to it. But yeah, it should look like that person, right? It should look like that person. It's fine if you want to 3D print your face onto a Dungeons and Dragon mini to use. That's one thing. But if you are paying homage to someone who meant the world to you or your family or your business or your team or whatever, to have someone apply their trade, there is some inherent beauty in this is the work of human hands and ingenuity that went into immortalizing this person for future generations to see. There's something beautiful about that I don't think you can get out of 3D printing a sculpture. I'm very pro 3D printing. In fact, there is a name, and I'm hoping this catches on. I am very interested down the line in investing in this. There is a community in Austin, just outside of Austin, Texas, that is 3D printing houses. They can 3D print like a 4-bedroom house for like $75,000. And the thought is, if this tech is invested in and generated in a way that it's easily accessible, we could cut the housing cost of this country in half just by 3D printing homes. And you can't look at them and go, oh, that's shoddy. They're concrete. It 3D prints with concrete, and then you go back in and you smooth it, you finish it, you paint it, it just looks like a house, right? I'm all in. But there's something when it comes to art, and I do think that this is in its base form art. There's something about it that you can only get through the work of a human being who put the time and energy and effort and learning into how to do it. And so when you create Dwayne Wade in a way that he looks like the bad guy from Tango and Cash and not Dwayne Wade, it kind of sucks all the beauty out of that, right? Because now, the next time, when they inevitably take this down, when they inevitably take this statue down and they vote to replace this statue, and they do, you think the next statue unveiling is going to have the same meaning to Dwayne Wade and his family? No. To the Heat fans that went out of their way to be there for that? No. To the dignitaries that came out to celebrate Dwayne Wade? No. To the Miami Heat to recognize Dwayne Wade for all he did for the Heat? No. It's been lost because of this. It's I know that this isn't something that a lot of you care about, but man, it bothered me that you got a legend like Dwayne Wade who went out of his way to do this, and that not one person in the Heat organization saw this statue and went, no, not just no, but hell no. That's not Dwayne. All right, Texas said, what was the deal with Sean Payton trying to run up the score in Carolina yesterday, passing late in the fourth, up 4 scores? I'll tell you when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. I have gotten to the point, James, where I use ChatGPT with regularity. And honestly, it's pretty great. What I would say is treat ChatGPT the same way you should treat everything else, which is verify the information, circle back around and verify the information, and make sure you're good. But I use ChatGPT all the time.
Linebacker D.J. Johnson sprained his right ankle. The Panthers played without starting wide receivers Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen.
Fit in Upstate is your home for Paladins football and basketball.
As long as you don't use it like to do your work, Mac, because that is frowned upon. You know, like have it write stories for you and things like that. You know, they don't like that if you get caught.
So before we get to the response to the texter who asked what was the deal with Sean Payton trying to run the score up on Carolina yesterday, I do have to point out something. Today is a very special day, Lonzo. Today in the land of sports, something is going to happen that has happened 31 times. 30 times. This is the 31st time, according to Yahoo. This is the 31st time that something has happened. This is the 31st time that all of the Big Four have regular season or have games being played on the same day. This is the 31st time that all four leagues have a game in action. You have the World Series Game 3 tonight in Major League Baseball. You have NBA games sprinkled across the country. You have Monday Night Football taking place in the NFL, and you have hockey, regular season hockey, going down tonight as well. It is the 31st time that the Big Four are all in action at the same time, which is
it cyclical?
Cool.
Like every 4 years this happens or something like that, according to dates?
No, I think because here's the thing. If, for instance, if Game 3 of the World Series was tomorrow, it wouldn't happen. Even though they're all in play, to have a game on the same day has to kind of be synced up by the schedule. If you want to add to that discussion and you consider MLS a major league, MLS has a playoff game tonight as well, which means that the Big Five are all in action for I believe, either the second or third time all time. Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, all on the same day. Happy Sports Equinox, I think, is the best way I can come up with to say it. All right, Sean Payton, why did he run the score up on the Carolina Panthers? The answer, because he could and he wanted to. Now, it is not about embarrassing the Carolina Panthers as much as many of you would like to feel offended, like to get all up in your feelings about it, and you would not be alone. Sam Franklin says that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, you know, we're all competitors at the end of the day. And, we just felt like it was something that could have been avoided. Like, you shouldn't have to try to run the score up, even though you're already winning. Like, there's 5 minutes left. You guys doing trick plays, still trying to score. So basically just trying to embarrass us. So, you know, but, you know, I just have faith in this team.
Here's what happened, Texter. What happened was that an NFL team was beating the hell out of another NFL team. An NFL team had created a situation where another NFL team just couldn't compete. Well, NFL teams during the regular season have limited opportunities where they can try stuff out. Effectively, you got to have what the Denver Broncos had this weekend. You got to have a game where you perform well against the bad team who does not perform well. Because the Denver Broncos, by no stretch of my limited imagination, the Denver Broncos are shockingly involved in the AFC playoff race. They are 5-3 right now. Right now, if the season ended in the AFC, the Chiefs would get the 1 seed and the bye at 7-0. Your division winners would be the Houston Texans at 6-2, the Pittsburgh Steelers at 5-2, and the Buffalo Bills at 6-2. Lonzo, if the season ended today, the Denver Broncos are going to the playoffs as a wild card team at 5-3. It would be them, it would be the Ravens, and it would be the Colts will be your wild card teams. They're absolutely in the playoff hunt. However, of the wild card teams, the Broncos are also the most up-and-coming team. They've got a rookie quarterback. They've got a bunch of young guys across their defense. It's an up-and-coming team that is going to get better. You have limited opportunities. You have limited opportunities where you can practice things against a full-speed, full-tilt National Football League defense. Limited opportunities. So if you're Sean Payton and you want to know that you have a fake field goal in the bag that can be broken out, if you find yourself, let's say, I don't know, hypothetically, it's week 17, there's 3, 4, 5 teams competing for the wild card, and let's say, hypothetically, the Denver Broncos alive for the wild card spot in the final week of the year. Lonzo, you want to take a stab at who the Broncos have in week 18? It's the Kansas City Chiefs. So what happens if you find yourself in a spot where the Chiefs, they're locked in. They've already got the 1 seed. They're locked in. You find yourself tied up late in the game. Denver's got the ball. They're driving. They're inside field goal range. They're down 3. Everybody sells out on the Chiefs backups because they want to go win this game and keep an undefeated season alive, whatever it is. Don't you want to know, if you're Sean Payton, that in a situation where it might matter, you have an onside kick in the bag? Of course you do. How do you make sure that your team is capable of running that onside kick? There's one way to do it. You run the onside kick. You put it into a game. You try it out. If you don't try it in this spot, you only have one other option. And that one other option is you don't try it until you need it, in which case you haven't gotten to practice it, because as much as you can try it against your first string defense, number one, they know what's coming. And number two, you, as every coach who's ever coached will tell you, they can't simulate a full speed NFL tilt against a different team in practice. It can't be done.
Stop your whining. If you can't stop him, that's on you. It's on you on whatever level of football. If you can't stop them, it's on you. There are hard lessons to be learned. You still getting paid the same. Just be a better team, Panthers.
Look, I don't think anybody disagrees with that, and that is spot on correct. But the texter asked why. Why do you feel the need? You can, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. Why would you do it? And the answer was Sean Payton wanted to do a few things. He wanted to get Bo Nix extra looks and extra XP when the risk was absolutely non-existent, A. And B, wanted to make sure that all the stuff that he had in the bag, the trick plays and the complicated route trees and all that, those were all things that he could lean on when he ends up with, sorry about it, an important game against a good team, which this one was not. At that point in the game, it was no longer important. The game had been put away, and it certainly was not against a good team. So a lot of people are looking up and going, oh, Sean was trying to humiliate the Panthers. No, he wasn't. He wasn't trying to humiliate you. What he was trying to do was make sure that his fake field goal unit had some experience. Make sure that Bo Nix was seeing maybe some more complicated routes and patterns and trees than he would ordinarily see in the offense that they run day to day. Maybe they were trying to make sure that if they got some wrinkles in the game somewhere, that they could run those out in what was a scrimmage scenario at that point. It wasn't that Sean Payton was standing there going, I'm going to humiliate the Panthers. It wasn't that. What it was Sean Payton was looking and going, I want to make sure we got a fake field goal and we can run it and we're comfortable running it. And my guys have done it. So there's a big difference between going out there and kicking a field goal in a high pressure situation and going out there and trying to execute a fake field goal in a high pressure situation. There's all these tells that you can give away, right? Okay, if their kicker turns his foot this particular way, it's because he's trying to get a faster start to the outside on a fake field goal. So defenders aren't dumb. Defensive coaches aren't dumb. They, like a poker player, are looking for those little tells. I need to be able to go out there and put down a fake field goal on tape so that I, as the head coach, can look at it and go, hey, kicker, you turned your ankle. You gave away the game. You gave away the bag. And now the Chiefs know it. So we need you to straighten that out. Now you've run it. Those nerves are gone because, hey, we did it. It worked. It's successful. Let's go. He wasn't trying to embarrass you. He was trying to make his team a playoff team, potentially, was in the best spot to succeed when they get down to the end of the season, and it matters. All right, real quick before we go to what the X is going on, brief history of the sports equinox when all four majors plus MLS are in action. So I looked it up during the break. The first sports equinox took place Sunday, October 17th, 1971. Roberto Clemente and the Pirates beat the Orioles in Game 7 of the World Series. There were 12 NFL games, 3 NBA games, and 6 NHL games that day. 9 more sports equinoxes took place between 72 and 85, all on Sundays. Then we went from 1986 to 2001 with 0 of them. In 2001, there was 1 sports equinox. Then we went 7 years from 2002 to 2009 without one. But now it's an annual holiday. Thanks to the World Series starting later, the NBA and NHL starting earlier, and Thursday Night Football airing weekly, there has been at least 1 sports equinox and often more every year since 2015. And just if you're curious, the NFL dominates TV viewership, but Games 1 and Game 2 of the World Series have averaged over 14.5 million viewers. Last week, Monday Night Football drew 15.2 million viewers, meaning there is a shot, an outside one, but a shot that baseball is the most watched sport in America tonight.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
Sorry, a bit distracted. All right, let's see what's Xing and see what Rob knows about it. First of all, I'm not sure baseball is the ratings winner tonight.
I'm not sure it is either. I just said it has a chance.
Well, I mean, it is really 2 really good teams. The fact that there's not 2 really good teams playing on Monday Night Football.
It's 2 bad teams. It's 2 really good. It's the 2 best teams in baseball.
It's 1 good team and 1 bad team as far as the NFL
It's
goes.
1 slightly above average team and 1 bad team.
Dude, they're like 4, 5, and 2, aren't they?
Yes,
that's
They're they're good.
Just math wise, it's better than above average.
Either
All
way,
right.
you've got probably 5 of the biggest 10 names in Major League Baseball playing for a championship tonight. And with one of those teams back against the wall, I'm not saying it will. I'm saying it's got a chance.
We'll see. All right. The first thing that's Xing is Bubba Ray.
Bubba Ray Dudley is Xing because he showed up at Halloween Havoc and stopped All Ego Ethan Page and Ridge Holland from beating the hell out of Slick Trick Willie style, y'all. And then got into it with Ridge at the post-game press conference as well. Does that move the needle for you at all?
Absolutely. It moves the needle, especially when NXT is coming up from the ECW house in Philly. So they're just setting up a Ridge Holland, Bubba Ray Dudley.
Did we get anybody else? Did we get a Rhino showing?
I don't know if I think Rhino's
Gore.
Rhino's in TNA now. So yeah, that's a possibility, I suppose.
Uh-huh.
I think
I
he
was
just
gonna
got
say.
inducted to the TNA Hall of Fame. So it is possible we see a bunch of those guys. But Bubba Ray Dudley can still wrestle. So I want to see.
He didn't look great in the ring. I mean, I know he can, but he didn't look real great in that ring.
From what I saw, it looked excellent.
No,
so
he looked bad.
I think they sold well. I thought everything looked really good. So we'll see. All right, the next thing that's excellent.
Chris said, "Don't forget WWE is tonight. Add that to the Equinox."
By the way, that's what I'm watching more than likely is Raw, especially with I think Crown Jewels next weekend, maybe. All right,
the World Series.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a big fan, but I ain't there yet.
Yeah. Anyway, the next thing that's excellent is Jerry Jones.
You all know why Jerry Jones is Xing. You don't need me to tell you why Jerry Jones is. You're all aware of why JJ is Xing because the Cowboys looked themselves in the mirror and said, "We suck." And we're not all saying it's Jerry Jones's fault, but he is the general manager. Or did he do something dumb last night? Did he give a press conference and blame it on the media?
No, it's pretty much for what you said.
Everybody dunking on the Cowboys?
Yeah, because Jerry Jones is, last time I checked, and I could be inaccurate on this, still Jerry Jones.
He is, as a matter of fact. Listen to Cole Bryson today, 3 to 7 on Wire to Wire. No reason.
All right.
I'm sure Cole's well adjusted today.
And finally, the last thing that's Xing that we have time for is Arrowhead West.
Arrowhead West. I'm assuming they are talking about Allegiant Stadium, where the Chiefs went and just layeth the smackdown on the Raiders this past weekend. The Raiders suck, dude.
Undefeated there. The Chiefs are.
That's what, second year of Allegiant? I think this is the second year.
No, it's been around a lot longer than that.
No, it hasn't.
Sure, it has.
No, it hasn't.
It has.
No, this is year 2, maybe year 3. Also, times.
Come on.
Time's not real. It's a
time is real, just not for us.
2020. This is the 4th year. Oh, is anybody else's back hurt?
Yeah,
all of a
you
sudden?
need that adjustment.
Oh, dude, my knee hurts a little bit.
That's not funny.
Y'all have a great rest of your day. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow the show. We want to be famous. We'll try again tomorrow when we come back for the Tuesday edition of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later.
Say hello to the back.
Jura. I was going to say, the Cowboys won't win when Jura is alive. And then he's going to do like the Raiders did and hand it over to his son, who is going to do the same thing because daddy knows best. I'm going to do it just like my Diddy. Just like my Diddy.
He won't have the same kind of cool haircut, though.
That man literally has a bowl cut. He literally puts a bowl on his head and cuts it.
What size bowl, though? I mean, is it like a Tupperware bowl? What kind of, I mean, as someone who actually had a bowl cut as a kid because mom couldn't afford to take me to the barber. And I was never still. So there was always a gap, like right in the front where I moved my head.
All right, kids, we got stuff to do. Thank you all for being here. You're all amazing. We love you. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow the show. Come back tomorrow. We'll be better or not. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
Have a good day. Maybe is solid. Adios.
All right. I don't know.